allow me to come and speak tonight. I don't have much. I just wanted to bring you up to date a little bit. I'm Kevin Jeffries, District 4 Magistrate, and we've had some issues again with the Allen Lane and the 393 underpasses. We've been told now it's going to look like be February before they open those up for bids or whatever. So there was an issue with the Allen Lane on some of the I guess the engineering that they had done didn't meet some of the CSX standards. So they told us that they had to go back and look at some of the engineered drawings and make some modifications to those. So hopefully, come February, we've had a lot of conversations with the KYTC and Jim Gray and some of his folks or whatever. So I'm hoping that they're going to, finally get those bids opened up come, January. So February. So that's what it looks like, at least at this point. So it's been kind of disappointing. We were told last fall it was going to be, late fall, then it was going to be January, and now looks like February, at the earliest. So that's really all I know on that. I just wanted to bring you all up to date on.
Hey, Kevin, being as that underpass will be a positive for CSX, are they kicking in any money toward this? Because it helps stop, train car collisions, which behooves them and their insurance.
Well,
and all that.
It does, and I don't know how the breakdown of that is. I don't think they're going to be responsible, for much of the cost. I know, KYTC they came back with a lot more cost involved because what they want to do is put a double track down through there and make it further down where they can get more trains, I guess off on the side track. So. I think some of that cost will be, paid for, by CSX. But
okay.
I don't know how much I don't think there's much that's going to be paid for by them to do that. It's mostly Kentucky State funds that are going to be tax funds that are going to be doing that.
Okay. But I mean, you see my point though. It kind of behooves them. It would.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't.
Yep.
I guess.
Any other questions?
Don't think so, Kevin. Appreciate you always coming by and seeing us, and thank you very much, and Happy New Year.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Okay, is Kevin the last speaker during the public comment tonight, or anyone else? Okay, if not, we'll move along to city administration. Cindy Albano is our finance director, so she has a report for you tonight, and so let's please pay attention to our financial current situation.
Okay, if we can all look at the check register first. If anybody has had an opportunity to look through there and has any additional questions, I've tried to highlight through most of these as I go through entering all these, preemptively trying to determine what your questions may be and highlighting what each and every one of the items is. So if anybody has any additional questions, let me know.
On the check number 3482, J Hall Family Main Facade Grant. Refresh my memory. Is it 50-50? Is that the deal? The city puts in 50%. And
it's up to $5,000 period. Okay.
Okay.
So if you spend 10, you get 5. If you spend 15, you only get 5. So
what if you spend 1,500? Do you still get 5?
50% of that.
Then it's 50% of what you spend.
50 up to 5,000.
Okay, gotcha. And then the other one I had a question on. There's a check from 12.5 to Rogers Group for sidewalk repairs, but obviously our City Works does that. So what's the scoop on that?
They provide the cement.
Oh, all right. Guess you need that for sidewalk repairs. Makes sense.
They actually not only do they provide cement, maybe they do provide cement, but a lot of that is rock material that goes into the
aggregate.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yes, sir. Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you. You listed everything very well. So those are the only two that I had questions on. So thank you.
Any further questions about any of the payables tonight by anyone? Anyone? I want to make sure that I don't move too fast for you.
Motion to approve the payables as presented.
Okay, motion has been made by Trey Kamer, second by Joe Davenport. Any further discussion on the payables tonight? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you so much. Okay, Cindy, second item, a financial report.
Okay, the second group is your financial statements. First page being revenues for the month, the remaining, all the individual fund expenditures. If anybody has any questions on those. I do want to point one thing out. If you're not aware, the city collects what's called, there's an item on there called bank shares. And what that is the banks pay a percentage of the average amount of deposits that they have in the bank at the end of the year, and we collect a fee on those. 2022, I was able to collect from PNC Bank. They had not remitted that from 2022, so that came in the bank, or I'm sorry, was collected and deposited into the bank the month of December, as well as the 2025.
Nice catch. Is that basically the interest that we're earning, or is there a different program that we're set up in on that?
It's a different program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Okay, any further comments or questions about this particular report? It's basically, it's a report of your beginning budgeted items, where we are, where we stand approximately 6 months into the year, and what percentages of those budget amounts were still yet to be allocated. It's basically what this report's about. Any further questions? If not, entertain a motion that be approved.
So move.
Motion made by Joe Davenport.
Second.
Second by Lucy Ricketts. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, last item, Cindy, please.
Okay, the last item is our bank account balance report. We're sitting right now at roughly $19.5 million. I just want to point out that while we are increasing our bank balances, if you do look at our budget where we are to date, we have been pretty light on the first 6 months of the year in our spending. So we can anticipate that will be going down a little bit over the next 6 months as we enter into the second half of our budget year. Also, we had a request from the Oldham Chamber and Economic Development for another draft on the sewer project. And that was $1 million that we put out for that.
Okay, does anyone have any questions, comments? I'll be ready to entertain a motion when anyone is ready.
Motion to approve the bank balances and investments report as presented.
Motion made by Trey Kamer. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Kenneth Powell. Thank you, Kenneth. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving right along here, folks. Miss Sarah Garrett's coming. How are you doing, Sarah? Good.
Hi, guys.
Did
We
you have
had
a good- Did you have a good holiday?
Oh, I had a fabulous
Did you
holiday.
have a good one?
Very
Okay.
low key, very relaxing.
All
That's what
right.
it's all about. How about you? Good
Yeah,
holiday?
I had a great
Huh?
one.
Good. Oh, good. Okay. Well, we have had a very exciting 2025 on Main Street, so I'm hoping if it'll pull up to give you guys a quick presentation of just some of the information I've been able to put together and show you what we've done. Okay, so I'll give this report again when we have an open house, which we'll do probably next month, middle of next month. My board is working on planning all of that, and that'll be open to the community. But I wanted to give you guys the first rundown of it. Okay, so oh, that's interesting. The font changed. Okay, so just quick overview at a glance. We really increased our social media following this year. We've had a very conservative number for volunteer hours. It's 2,000 hours, which is amazing. And I just noticed when I was sitting over there, I have 6 new businesses, not 5. So we've had several new businesses come into my district. I'm sure most of you guys know the team. Again, I'm sorry, I guess the font kind of changed, so things are kind of all over the place. But of course, I have my amazing board. It's kind of been restructured this year a little bit. And then I have some all-star volunteers. Sorry, Donna, I did not tell you were going to be making an appearance. But Donna and Rhonda run Alley Loop, of course. So, yeah. And then Pam and Patrick, of course, and then the board members. Okay. So this is just our mission and vision statement. Our mission is to sustain and grow the diversity, harmony, and economic vibrancy of the LaGrange Main Street District. And our vision is to nurture and preserve a welcoming community in downtown historic LaGrange. We are one of 25 different programs throughout the state of Kentucky. So I get to work with them a fair amount. And our boundaries did change either late last year or early this year. So I finally am able to have these boundaries and show you who exactly we're serving. Historically, it's kind of the historic central business district. Previously, before I came on, they were still using their original boundaries from like 2003. And it extended like, I don't even know how many city blocks, like 16 blocks. It was too large. And it didn't do what we needed it to do. This serves its purpose as showing who we serve and the mission that we have. It kind of fits the mission. So the Main Street program, it operates, like I said, it's a national program. So this is the national program's outline. It has these 4 points, and we'll talk about what we've done for each point this year. But we'll start first with economic vitality, which of course is just bringing people downtown, getting the vibrancy back, creating a robust ecosystem for these small businesses. So by doing that, we do that through events. So of course we have our farmers market that runs through April to October, plus Shop Small Saturday. And then of course our bigger ones like Chocolate Crawl and Light Up LaGrange and things like that. But those are why we're doing it. It's all a part of the economic vitality mission. Again, we've had over 2,000 hours of volunteer hours, which according to, I believe, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that equals about $60,000 in labor. So something I'm very proud of. Something I think the community should be very proud of is all these volunteer hours and the good we're doing for the community. Let's see. In terms of, again, with the economic vitality, we're offering this merchant masterclass to all of my merchants within my district. They're able to come once a month. We offer these classes. This is the January one that you see right here. That's about social media, but we'll do other ones throughout the year of just best practices for small businesses and how they can grow and be sustainable and grow with the market. So that's the goal of that. And we've been working very hard with curating that so it's something that's useful to the merchants as opposed to just a session of me talking at them for an hour about the things going on. So we still have that too, don't get me wrong, but education is key, I believe. So this is just one way we can educate our businesses and hopefully in a way that's beneficial to them. Next point is design. So visual appearance of the space in the area. We're concerned ourselves with that. And this slide is one that I'm most proud of, and I hope you guys are too. This facade grant that we offer with the city, with you all, has sparked a total investment of over $53,000 alone in 2025. $53,000 that wouldn't have otherwise been spent by these building owners to improve the exterior of their building. So these are just 5 projects we had going on in 2025. I have at least 4 more sitting on my desk right now that are in the process. They're just waiting for final invoices to be done so that we can approve them and get them out the door. So again, I'm very proud of this. And
So Sarah,
I
that
hope you all-
53, that's what the city and
Yes.
the business owners have spent combined.
Total investment. Yep.
Okay. Do
That's
we know
correct.
what the breakdown is on that? Just out of curiosity for the
Um,
ROI.
So I don't have like the ratio. Most of them were 50-50 except for number 5. I didn't want to like say who is spending what and how much.
Okay.
Number 5 had an investment of over $15,000. So that one, it was not a 50-50 match. But most of them were trying to utilize the grant as much as possible to work.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. The next point is promotion. So how do we promote downtown LaGrange as a hub for economic vitality and a place to live, work, play, all the above? So to do that, we reach people through social media. So another fun statistic for us. So this is just Facebook specifically. I'll get to Instagram, but Facebook, we've had over 1,900 new followers in 2025. Well, between January 1 and December 18. So 2025, with 2.4 million, with a reach of 2.4 million. So that is how many people has seen a post of ours throughout the year. It's a pretty big number. So we've reached a lot of folks, even if it's just a little bits at a time. So with that 1,900 new followers, we had a total of over 16,000 followers just on Facebook. With our content interaction. So anytime someone liked, shared, commented, anything like that, that counts as an interaction. So over 30,000 interactions, which is a 37.2% increase from 2024. So we've really been picking it up. With our most popular post reaching just under 96,000 views. That post was specifically about one of the new businesses. It was welcoming a new business we had. So it was getting a lot of traction for them, which is very exciting. And then we had over 56,000 people click on our Facebook page and view the page, go specifically to our page, which is a 15.3% increase from 2024. As you can see, a lot of our audience is in LaGrange, but we do get you can't really tell in there, but it's 17.4% of our audience is in LaGrange. And then we have Louisville, Buckner, Crestwood, Pendleton, and so on and so forth, with a large portion of our audience being 45 to 54. And of course, female. Again, just Facebook.
Hey, Sarah, just
Yeah.
on that, all of this is Facebook, not Instagram or YouTube or
Correct.
Snapchat.
Wait, you just wait till the next
Okay,
slide.
all right.
Yeah. You're just as excited as I am about it, I can tell. So Instagram. So similar statistics this year. So Facebook is very well established for the Main Street program. We've been working on growing our Instagram following a little bit. So these numbers are going to be a little bit lower, but also very fun and impressive. So we have 646 new followers this year for a total of 3,208 followers on Instagram. We've had a total of, well, just under 187,000 views on our Instagram with content interacting. Again, that's a like, a send, a comment, things like that. 3,700 people, which is 100% increase from 2024. With our most popular post reaching 1,100 people, and we had over 2,700 page visits, which was a 28.5% increase from 2024. Similar breakdown where female is the vast majority. A lot of them are in LaGrange, and the generation is 35 to 44, which was the generation younger than the last age group that I talked about on Facebook. So female, and then 35 to 44, followed by 45 to 54, and so on and so forth. The breakdown of location is LaGrange, Louisville, Buckner, Crestwood, Pewee Valley, and then it goes down from there. So our website visits, 90% came from the US, but I thought it was very interesting that, again, this is website, so it's not social media. This is LaGrangeMainStreet.org. Almost 10% of visits were international. So people outside of this country are coming and looking at our website. I would imagine RailFan, the RailFest had something to do with that. Things like Light Up LaGrange and the RailCam, of course. I think a lot of people get excited about RailCam, and they want to learn more about us. So they hop on our website and see what they can find. All right, continuing in the promotions section, we have we got a grant this year, Sparking Change. It was a little mini grant from Louisville. We were able to create these pamphlets, which I think I handed them out to you a few months ago, so you guys could see those, and just something tangible to have, so hold that people can carry around with them that lists out all of the businesses within our districts that people can reference as they need to. Okay, organization. We're on the last one. So this is kind of the shared vision that conveys the Main Street program's vision. It's kind of involves creating a strong foundation for revitalization. So, like I said, we had 6 new businesses. Very proud of all of them. And I know of at least one more that should be opening in about a month. So we've been very strong with that and welcoming these businesses. And it's been really exciting to get to see them grow. So very proud of that. If you have not checked them out, please go check them out. They're all fabulous. New hires. We've had 2 new hires for Main Street program. I have a new front of house. She's my program coordinator, and that's Nancy Griffin. You guys might recognize her. She's been a player on Main Street for a long time. She had my job 10 years ago or something. So she knew what she was getting into, and she knows what she's doing, and she's a great asset. And then we also have a social media manager that we were just able to hire just 10 hours a week, just something to take off our plates so that we could focus more on all of these other fun points that I've been discussing with you.
What does a program coordinator do?
She does my front of house. She does like my QuickBooks.
Okay.
Yeah, she writes the checks and
Okay.
yeah. She's a lifesaver is what she is. She is amazing. So those are new hires. Of course, we have so many community partners, just to name a few. We do a lot with Whitney, Move and Groove with Whitney. She does classes here, but she does a lot during our Trackside Tunes. And just, of course, we have a ton of opportunities for other nonprofits to get involved, which you see some of those pictures there. And of course, Parks and Rec. We enjoy working with Parks and Rec. Okay, this one's also kind of hard to read. So let's see. Under the Main Street umbrella is Farmers Market and Alley Loop. So our Farmers Market manager estimates that we get about 200 attendees per event. We have 31 events. That is 6,200 folks coming downtown to go to the Farmers Market. That's pretty exciting. It's a Kentucky Proud Market. It runs April through October, and of course on Shop Small Saturday, like I said. The Farmers Market alone gets over 200 volunteer hours from community members. We support 47 small businesses that go there, set up shop there. And on Facebook, they have 7,700 followers. Alley Loop. So we had a conservative number for attendees for the Alley Loop Festival is about 800. With plenty of volunteer opportunities spring, summer, and fall. Really, we just kind of take a brief hiatus in the winter, but something tells me that plans are already a-brewing. So they've done a lot of public improvements, specifically in Music Alley, which is the parking lot of the Main Street program and Welcome Center area. If you haven't seen it, it's gorgeous. There is repainting the fences. They installed instruments, playable instruments and instruments that are kind of more decor, but instruments nonetheless. The planted flowers and just general upkeep. They continue to promote themselves with 2,500 followers on Facebook as well. And looking ahead, we want to continue to promote these quality events. We want to continue to host them, and we want to be fiscally responsible with these events. So we've been taking a hard look at what's working, what's not working, and how can we improve each event. We want to increase our volunteerism, of course. Again, I'm super proud of what we did in 2025, but I think we can do even more in 2026. We want to continue that social media campaign, welcoming new businesses, of course, and continue to work on different public projects that will help improve this community as much as possible. And that says thank you. So thank you. So
Okay.
again, I'll give this presentation again if I went too fast or you just really liked it and just can't wait to hear it again. And I'll be giving out more information on that as it becomes available. But if there's anybody that does have any questions or comments or concerns or suggestions, I'd be my guest.
Have you looked at? I know in our house we use the Alexa a lot, and I know you can do ads on there. I didn't know if that was something that if anybody's looked into that as far as good return on investment on that. Always looking at different ways to get to maximize the advertising dollars to
That's interesting because we don't pay much in advertising. Even when we promote things on Facebook and Instagram, we really don't do that very often.
Yeah.
But I would be interested to see what the ROI is for something like that because I haven't considered verbal ads on Alexa or something like that.
Yeah,
Some
to
sort
get
of
people up
streaming
for,
service.
to come. Obviously, you're going to target a local area, but
Right.
to get people to get up and come on out for events and things might be something
Right.
worth looking
Because
into.
and we promote on Crossroads streaming station, but this might offer another pool of people. So that's
Yeah.
a great idea. I like it.
Thanks.
I'm writing it down.
What about the vacancies on Main Street that we've had for a number of years? And I guess my thoughts are they're very nice buildings.
Yes.
However, nothing seems to take place for whatever reason. Is there a way to try to put a visual in the window and say, hey, call on this building. It's your place. Your dream business can come here and try to promote the fact that these buildings could be part of our Main Street district, but they're sitting there empty for year after year. And
Right.
it's a shame because they're actually nice, neat
Beautiful buildings.
But for whatever reason, I didn't know if through our incentive programs or anything we have, could we try to incentivize them to give it a shot on something?
Right. So now correct me if I'm wrong. I think a lot of the storefronts that aren't occupied right now
Mhm.
are currently owned, and the owners don't necessarily seem to be interested in entertaining an idea or like renting it out. So to combat that, because it's not the best for this community, in my opinion, I've considered looking into a vacancy ordinance, creating one of those. A lot of communities do it. They're kind of hard to enforce, but that is something I've considered. But I don't think we have any. There's one space that I know of in my district that is open and ready to be leased that just hasn't had a person come in yet, and that is at Jennifer Jacobs State Farm, the other half of her building.
Stephanie, do we have any code like that you can think of for code enforcement? Okay, sorry.
No, that's important information. I texted with her briefly about it. So, of course, it's up to the council, though. So we can discuss that later. But so that's the way I see to combat something like this is because the mayor's right. They're beautiful, perfectly operating buildings. There's no need for them to sit empty if they don't have to.
I used to go down to Caulfield's on Main Street, the 10th and Main,
Mhm.
every Friday during Halloween and everything, and they had a magic shop in there. There's this older gentleman that ran the magic division of Caulfield's, and it was the most entertaining place for so maybe we could get a magic shop in LaGrange,
I think that would be fabulous.
a magic store possibly. So
Uh-huh.
I'm just throwing stuff out there because, a lot of it's probably lady oriented. Maybe we need some men things that would get the men doing something other than sitting on a bench smoking a cigar.
Right.
So anyway,
Magic
thank
could
you,
be the key.
Sarah. We got to keep moving. I said,
sir.
thank you for your report. If no one else has any other comments, thank you so much. Appreciate. We had a great light up LaGrange.
Oh, it was so much fun.
huge crowd. So
Huge.
that was awesome night.
They loved when the train came by right before we got up on stage.
Yeah.
It was stressful, but they loved it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Donna Sabo.
Hi, I'm
Good
gonna be
evening.
Short and sweet tonight. I've got, give you my bank balance first. $41,821 in the bank account with about $101,047 in a CD. Guess we'll start with the event we had this weekend. We had skating here in LaGrange, and it was a huge event. We had 433 skaters come in town. A lot of them were local kids that were on the swings. They played in the park. It was was freezing cold. It was 30 degrees, but they loved it. It was great to see everyone out. We gave everyone a choice of $5 to skate or to bring 3 canned goods. So the Parks Department helped me this morning. We delivered about 700 cans to High Point this morning from our efforts there this weekend. I thought it was a great deal. We had minor expenses for this, other than the overall cost. We had propane expenses. We had heaters out there and stuff so that people could warm up. We had a coffee and hot chocolate truck there that did extremely well. And I followed up with Jason. He said his restaurant was very busy from the event there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So
Every time I looked over, the whole park was just full of kids. Some of them were skating, but a lot of them were just all over the park just playing. And I know they came down there for the skating rink. But I mean, every time I looked, the park was just full of kids. So I'm sure not only us, but I'm sure a lot of the other local shops and things got some good traction out of that. So good stuff.
So, it's something that we'll definitely consider next year. The second thing I'm working on is, I mentioned it before, is the repair of the clock, or that's here on Main Street in LaGrange. If you could pull up that drawing for me, Steve, do you have that drawing? Oh, it's hard to see. This is a rough draft. I reached out to 3 contractors, received 2 quotes, 1 no quote. This one was brought in by Barrett Sherrill, and I think it's going to transform the clock in our city, and it's going to look so much better. Hopefully we'll start on that in the spring.
Does it down at the bottom on the base, what does it have? Does it say LaGrange what? I can't see it.
LaGrange, Kentucky.
Is that just says LaGrange? Okay.
Yes, that will be lettering.
All right. Will that be in brass or will that be in just
It'll probably be a black lettering,
black lettering?
Mhm.
Okay.
more than likely. The total cost of that project, just to do the clock, was about $4,800, and the cost of the painting, all materials and labor, is an additional $1,800. And then, of course, the lettering and a new plaque. We've got a plaque there that needs to be updated, and we're going to take care of that. So
So it's not a redesign. It's just a kind of updating.
update the look. Like the clock now has plexiglass in it. So we'll put glass in it just to make it, it should be a focal point of our downtown area. So we want to make that really nice.
And there'll still be plantings there in the summer, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we wouldn't change that. So if anybody has any questions on that, let me know. The last thing is we're working on Rail Fest. It's time again. May 9th, we'll have Rail Fest again. We'll start working on that this week, and it's May 9th, 2026. So it'll be here again. And that's all I have, unless someone has some questions for me.
Don, have you had a chance to, Mayor and I were talking about the arch the other day. Have you had a chance to talk to John Stewart about getting updates on that? I know he'd gone through and drawn kind of the basic.
Yes, I did talk to John probably a couple of weeks ago, and I call him. He was on a plane. He's getting on a plane. So he's a very, very busy guy.
Yeah.
So haven't forgotten it, but yes.
Okay. All right.
You still got that sign down on the bank in your list somewhere, sign it's Stockyard Bank.
Yes, it is on my list. That is a Main Street sign and historic district sign, that commission. I did talk to Barbara Manley about replacing that we would help.
Come out of it facing the parking lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I
It's in
did.
pretty rough shape.
It does. It looks really
Of course, I
bad.
bang down there every time I go down there. They hit me with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will make that a priority, but thank you for
Kelly
mentioning
always
it.
asks me about it. So what did they go do there outside?
Yes, it doesn't look very nice, but thank you. We're in
Appreciate
the
it, Don.
winter months, and so in March, we'll go full steam ahead again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for me?
Anyone have anything for Donna tonight? If not, thank you very much, Donna, for coming, visiting us. And
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Happy New Year.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to item 10. I have invited Jay Hall here tonight. He's coming here tonight to present us with a little bit, well, it's a lot of money to me, but anyway, every funding cycle, there's a Samuel Peyton Samuel Head Family Trust. Maybe I said that right, close to it, Jay, but for you all who don't realize who Ms. Louise Duncan was, she was a lady when I was growing up here, little white-haired lady that lived in the corner house where the History Center is. I might get part of this right, Jay, but she sat out on the front porch and she rocked in her rocker and just minding her own business. She went out to that cellar. I remember out there at the cellar getting vegetables or stuff, whatever she kept in her cellar, but she just meandered around that whole corner. And then upon her death, I think she was the person who was instrumental in probably giving that whole corner property to the Oldham County History Center for their museum. So I remember Mrs. Duncan, she may had a goldfish pond there that I tried to catch her goldfish with my fishing pole and she run me out. But she was a neat lady. And I know Jay's father was friends with her and actually looked after her in her latter years, who was Jay's father. And he helped Ms. Duncan. And finally, when she passed, I think that's when all the property became part of the Oldham County History Museum. Is that somewhat correct, Jay?
Close enough.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. Anyway, but what we had done here, as we do every year, I asked Steve Mahoney to submit a request for funding to the foundation. Steve sent a letter over to Jay, who's on the board with 3 or 4 other members of the foundation, and they were able to grant some money here tonight. And it was for 2 different items. It was first item was a request for some money to possibly put some form of a small, not a huge, elaborate theater over in Springs Park, maybe something that's a little bit more fitting and down in an area of the park, maybe someday for banjos or whatever down in the park with a little seating area around some old stones or stonework as we move into phase 2. And then another one was for a park shade area, I think, to go on. I think Steve was needing that somewhere on one side of the restrooms or so. So, Jay, just, I don't know, you might have the letter there with you, but I want to thank you for coming and granting this money opportunity tonight.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Mayor. Well, as Mayor said, I'm Jay Hall, and I'm here on behalf of the Peyton Samuel Head Trust. And I look at the area where Springs Park is, and I remember what it looked like 30, 40 years ago. And, you know, 3 things I want to say to you: vision, work, and funding. Nothing good happens without those 3 things. Somebody has to have a vision. Somebody has to be willing to put in the work to carry out that vision. And you have to secure funding from somewhere or somehow, either the taxpayers or another organization or an individual. Now, I saw Donna stand up here and talk about the clock. I remember quite well the day they dedicated that clock. Raymond Wilbur gave the money. Our former mayor gave the money to see that that clock's there. And I was going to ask Donna afterwards, but I'll go on and ask her now. I think there's a plaque that maybe has his name on it. If there is, we need to make sure that stays up there. Thank you, Donna. You know, so he had a vision for something that's still here today. And, you know, folks, I just say this: we all worked together back in those days and to move the county and the city forward. And I hope that we can all continue to work together, because that's the secret to a small community. So I'm here to talk about vision, work, and funding. And I think about that area. It didn't happen overnight, because I remember Mayor Carter, Mayor Davenport, Mayor Lamline, and Mayor Black all coming and talking about that area to me and say, it can be improved. We can do better. And, you know, I look out my window at my office and I see what's over there today. And I hear my next door neighbors talk about how they came up to the farmer's market and how great the farmer's market in LaGrange is. And they enjoy going there. And people come from out of town to come to that area. Not just LaGrange, not just the local people. Folks come from Jefferson County out here, think it's wonderful. We got a good thing. And so I guess I want to brag on your new Park and Recs director. I didn't really know him very well, but I got to tell you, you know, he put together a pretty nice application with pictures and of what he could envision that area was going to look like, what I guess I would call the lower Spring Park, the area, you know, below, up by the tracks and the farmer's market. And it was well put together, and I commend him. And, you know, I believe he might have used the word amphitheater, and it kind of sparked in my head probably 10 or 15 years ago. Somebody else talked about this area that was on your parks board, Blake Hazelton, to me. And I remember Blake coming, and I said, what are they going to do with that down there? Because quite honestly, there's an old landfill on part of it, and it wasn't the best of surroundings. And Blake said, well, Jay, I think we're going to redo that area. We're hoping to get some funding, and we may put an amphitheater down there. So it just kind of all sparked in my mind when he used that terminology. So that goes back to the vision. So folks, I'm just here tonight to tell you, keep working together. I'll do my best to try to help you with the funding from the Head Trust, Peyton Samuel Head Trust. But, you know, it doesn't happen overnight. A lot of times people think, oh, they see the farmer's market spring up 3 or 4 years ago. It's been going on for decades. I'd say at least 20 years. So, you know, it takes time, it takes vision, and it takes hard work. So I'm happy to be here tonight to tell you I've got a check from the trust for $29,000 to go towards that vision. And I don't know if the mayor prompted your Parks and Rec director to put that application in. If he did, well, that a boy, Mr. Mayor. If he didn't, I just want to say, you know, give your Parks and Rec director a pat on the back when you talk to him, because somebody has to have a vision.
Give him a raise.
Jay, I just wanted to say something. I remember when the fire department burned, and Duncan said, okay, she gave the money
$100,000
to rebuild that fire department, which is now on that spot, which is now the police department.
That's exactly right. $100,000 then was a lot of money. That was just probably a bit ain't.
Yeah, but as I grew up in that same neighborhood, and I would ride my bike around, and she'd say, "Hey, come on over here, Lucy," and she'd go in and pick up stuff and show me and taught me a lot lot of the history of LaGrange.
I know
She was wonderful.
political season coming up, and whoever ends up on the city council, whoever ends up as mayor, all I want to say is working together,
Is
we
it?
go forward. And we need to all remember that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Well, I hit Raymond Wilburn up when he was the former mayor, and I said, Raymond, we need a clock on Main Street, and he said, what for, John? I said, because everybody in town wants to know what time it is. He said, oh, do they? He stuttered, and so anyway, he said, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to get a clocker? I said, we're going to call Camelsville Industries down in Camelsville and get a clock ordered. Well, how much is it going to cost? I said, $16,000. So he said, can you and I put the foundation in ourselves to save some money? And I said, no, I don't have that kind of energy, Raymond. And so anyway, we had the dedication, and as we were dedicating, he said, you know, this cheap mayor, I guess I was the mayor, I can't remember, but he said that the townspeople need to know what time was. He said I could have sent them all to Walmart and bought them a watch and saved money. So anyway,
Was that after the siren didn't go at noon?
I don't know when it was. I don't know when. Okay, thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Okay, buddy. Okay, LaGrange Utilities report. We have Scott Treese, but it looks like it's Mr. Ron tonight. Good evening. How you
Take a
doing?
break first.
Good to see you.
How you doing, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Council
Doing
members.
fine.
We'll start going over some project updates. The Oldham Reserve project, it's about 85% complete. The contractors are seeking extension. It's supposed to be done by the 31st, at the end of this month, but they're asking for an extension as of right now. First Street Water Project, it's approved, and we are advertising it soon for bids. The Courts Water Projects and the water pressure reducing valve projects, we opened bids last month, and we will be reviewing them in our council meeting next week. The Allen Lane project, spring, just like Kevin was talking about. East Peak Road sewer extension, they began work on that. Trilogy sewer project, materials on site, so they should be beginning that soon. The Denton Floyd lateral extension, that's approved by Division of Water. And then the Marquee Apartments is also approved by Division of Water. And then moving on down to Dogwood Estates, the water lines have been approved by Division of Water, and we're still reviewing the sewer plans. Had a little pump station, we're working on that, so still reviewing that. And then Fort Pickens water tank, it's back in service for now, but we have a little leak, so we're gonna have to take it back. I think we might be taking it back down this week on Wednesday.
Is that the one that's going across the road that's been an issue coming up? Remember we had the water running across the road,
Yeah.
and it was freezing. We're concerned about it freezing and causing an ice skating rink on the road. And I know it was somebody else had put something in or something, but I didn't know if that was tied into that leak there.
No, this leak is like minor. Like it's,
okay.
Yeah. When it rains hard or rains anytime, there's a spring down there at where that crack is, and has been since I've been here for 14 years now. 12 years, sorry, too many. And so when it rains, their water comes through that, and then when it stops raining, that water doesn't come out that road. So not really sure what is causing that. Like LG&E went across that road, and that's when the water started coming out of the road. And I've spoke with a couple county people and state people about that. And I've seen Kevin's posts on Facebook about it too. So
Kevin, is that your district, or it is? What's that? Because I've noticed it's still leaking across that road pretty recently, and obviously it's on that hill. So
I think it's a spring. It's what's going on there. I don't know.
well, we didn't have that problem before. I'm wondering if we need to get the county attorney on them.
I don't know. It's a water issue, but I don't know. I'll have to check on that a little bit
Okay.
more, 'cause
All right. Sorry, I know that was off on a tangent.
Yeah.
But it's kinda,
Sometimes when, like you
something
said,
important
LG&E
yes,
did a bore. Sometimes
No,
when
they just
do a
dug.
bore, they'll bore through a spring, Jason, and it'll just come up and it won't. I mean, you're bringing the water to the top of the
I mean,
surface.
I lived down there and there was never that problem until LG&E did their thing.
Yeah.
And it's just been a mess lately.
I mean, the one time the water coming through the road was because of us, because we were draining the tank.
Right.
So that was our water. But after that, the rain situation, it's just
But I
kind of,
think, I think they do a pretty good job keeping it salted and
Yeah.
sanded.
Kev,
Just go.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. What's the status on the Crystal Lake flush valves and flush?
we had to order some parts, and they just now came in, and we're working on getting those in now. So we have one in, and then, like I said, we had problems in that meeting. We kind of spoke. So the parts came in. We had to order some new T's and stuff. So that's, yeah.
So they think they can get those in the spring?
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
Because I'm still getting a lot of calls.
Yeah.
A lot of posts on Facebook about
Yeah.
muddy water.
Yeah.
And I think, Owen County Water has done some things, treatment plant does, you help it a little bit.
Mm.
There's still a lot of issues at Crystal Lake.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we got the parts in. It's just getting the time and the weather right now. So that's all the project updates. If you have any more questions,
Anyone have any questions for Jonathan?
Josh,
Josh, I
you
mean.
do that all
Josh.
the time, Mr. Black.
Josh Ron. Anyone have any questions for Josh? You got a lot of projects going on.
Yes, sir. We do
Um,
a lot of
what,
in-house projects.
I saw a notification or something about there's going to be a meeting at the chapel, the building next door to the fiscal court. I think it's being put on by Stephanie Hawkins, who's a magistrate with the Lakewood Valley people. I guess concerning this project in their subdivision of Lakewood Valley. Evidently, they're got a lot of concerns what's going on or not going on. So, anybody know? Have you heard anything about that?
I know. Sorry, I haven't.
Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Okay, and that's going to be at the chapel. They call it at Old Methodist Church. Okay.
What's the reason for the meeting? Is that what we don't know?
Well, if you look at this project, Jason, they eliminated the Lakewood Valley sewer treatment plant through this process and putting in a big pump station, a couple pump stations there. And they've actually had to go down the streets of Lakewood Valley, some of them, with the force main and the gravity main going to and from. So they're probably wondering when their streets will get paved back and put back. When will the project be finished? When's the cleanup going to take place in the area and stuff like that? I'd assume.
Like I said, the project was supposed to be done 1/31 of 26, but the contractors are asking for extensions.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to give us an actual date on, we had a meeting on the 5th of December and we still haven't got an actual extension date
I
yet,
think
so.
Scott told me that Division of Water gave him an extension on that decree notice as well.
Right. Now, this is from the
because-
contractors when I'm speaking about.
Yeah.
So we haven't got that from them yet.
Josh, and maybe Mayor, do we have, when we have contractors like that, do we have built into the contract with penalties for going past the completion date?
They didn't on this one.
Okay. Maybe it's something we need to look at going forward.
That would be.
Having worked with contractors, sometimes it's helpful to have,
I think
some.
what happened there
Incentive.
also, they hit massive amounts of rock where they didn't anticipate it. And I think that's really shoved the project back as well. But David, you want to come up and please come up so you can get on, since Jason's question is on the video, I want the answer to be given on the video as well, please.
I'm David Bazanis. I've worked with the Chamber of Commerce and also the Oldham LaGrange Development Authority. My understanding is Chairman Stewart from the Oldham Board will be at the public meeting tomorrow, as well as a representative from Flynn Brothers, who are the contractors, and a member of Doug Wood from OR Partners will be there, so they can give some answers to the public. I don't know all the details of it, but exactly that the timeline needs to be shorter than it is. So.
Did you have anything else tonight, David, you want to bring to the council? or are you-
No, I just wanted to come and say Happy New Year to everybody. We do have, I have talking to Ms. Albano. We have a check for about $750,000 that we'll approve at Oldest Board meeting on Thursday to the recent land sales related to these projects. That includes paying back some of this investment that's gone towards the sewer extension with interest and whatnot. So, it's not a huge amount of money, but it is something significant as those things go through. So I think it's a positive sign.
Yeah, it's good.
Get the sewer project done and get those folks settled in and get
Okay.
some business in.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay, as far as the utilities financial report, I'd like to have a motion to approve that. So motion made by Joe, second by Kenneth. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you too, Roy Horton. Roy always comes. He's probably chairman of the utility commission. He's been there about 10 years or
Roy put the first water line in, I think.
yeah, Roy probably put
Him
the
and
first,
Dino.
Roy probably put first water line in LaGrange. Okay. All right, tonight, folks, I wanted to bring, if they were able, Corey's not feeling good. He's under the weather, but I wanted to bring our directors tonight here as we begin our new year, just to give you an idea of where they are and see perhaps if the council had any questions, but just giving them the opportunity to speak to the council about what they see the year coming up as. And so our first up tonight is Katie Bechtold, who's our transportation supervisor, our HR director, and our payroll clerk, payroll supervisor, and whatever else. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Is this on?
I think it's on, Steve. Yeah, Steve says it's on.
Okay.
Steve says go with it.
Okay, I'm just going to go with it. Okay, so I'm just going to give a little bit of report on our Oldham Public Bus first. Just to start out, we're halfway through the fiscal year, and believe it or not, we are up on ridership from last fiscal year. When COVID happened, we dropped 40% of our ridership, which I thought was a huge drop. When I was talking with TARP, who actually we reported to back then, they thought that wasn't very high because they dropped about 60% of their ridership. We have increased over the last few years with the last year ridership amount from 2024 to 25 fiscal year. We transported 11,435 riders in the city of LaGrange. Right now, fiscal year through July through December, we have transported 6,420 riders, but we are in the lower part of ridership. So our highest numbers come between March and June. So I do predict that we will be way above the last year ridership total amount. I am starting the process of applying for another 2 grants through the transportation department. One is for additional grant money that I've been told that I can apply for this year to help fund operating costs and costs for our dispatchers. And the other one will be for a new vehicle that I will look at probably getting in 2 years. We probably won't get through the grant this year for next year, but in the next 2 years, we look at maybe applying for another vehicle.
Katie, who
yes.
are those grants from? Who's going to be providing the money?
They're going to be through the FTA, through Federal Transit.
Okay.
Yep.
Both of them. Okay.
Yep.
And you mentioned dispatchers.
Yes.
How many are we going to have?
Well, right now we have 2, just myself. I do it full time, 8 to 9 hours a day. And then I have this part time who does it 3 hours a day. So we only have 2 dispatchers right now. But the grant covers part of the costs for running the bus and the dispatch. So that's where that grant money will come in.
Okay. What's their hours, Katie?
Whose hours? I'm sorry.
Yours and the part-time.
I work 5:15 to 2 p.m. and the other dispatcher runs the bus 2 to 5 p.m. Now that we're under state statute, which we went through this year, it is required by state in order for us to get our funding through the state that there be a dispatcher on site running the dispatcher line whenever we have a driver. So we have a driver running from 5:15 to 5 p.m. It's really 5:45, but we speak at 5:15 before he gets on the road at 5:45. We have to have a dispatcher lined up at that time.
So when you say they're on site, does that mean they're in this office?
The dispatchers?
Yeah.
The 2 Heather Woodcox is actually my part-time dispatcher and myself. Shelby Turbs is, according to her new job description this year, like Lisa Long used to be. She will be trained to dispatch. We have not trained her yet, but she will be trained to take over for Heather.
So at 5:15?
No, I do the early morning every morning.
Right here?
No, I work from home. That's when I was hired on 8 years ago. I work from home from 5:15 to 8, and I come in here when City Hall opens. And that's always been the way it was since I've been here. Since I even went taking on HR and payroll and insurance premiums and all the other stuff, the ARPA things, I still am able to get that done during my office hours when I'm in the office from 8 to 2.
So when you say that we have to be on site while we have this.
We have to have someone, I'm sorry, we have to have someone on call is what I mean. On call to be answering emergency calls. For example, there was a time back in the day when it was a winter month and our driver was coming out of Copperstone Trailer Park, turned the corner, slid on the ice and went right over an embankment. So the bus went from here to here. I had to be called in, to come in and do a report, make sure there was no one injured on the bus. If we have any accidents during that time, it's kind of like how the FTA compares it is even when we have people on like 911 calls, you might not get a call for hours, but there has to be someone on call to be taking calls during those hours. Even when we have TARC drivers, there's always someone on dispatch running, making sure there's an emergency they have to report. For me, primarily during those morning hours, we take work riders to work. And there's many times that the work riders don't need a ride. So I don't want my driver to waste time, gas, and wear and tear on the vehicle and drive out to their homes and sit there and wait when there's people on the bus that need to get to work. Or we have people in the community whose cars break down and they can't get to work and they're going to the hospital. And they'll call the line and say, is there any chance we can get a ride this morning? And it's last minute. So I have to call my driver, ask them, see how we can fit it into the schedule and pick them up and get them to work on time. So it's hit or miss. I was on vacation for Christmas and I ran the bus phone in the morning when I was on vacation, and I had 12 calls in 3 hours just for people that needed rides to work and so forth. So, and then there could be days where I only get 4 calls. It just depends. It changes day to day.
Hey, Katie, you said while you were on vacation, so you weren't able to come in if there was an emergency, right?
Correct. So Heather was my backup. We only have 2 people right now. So she was on call if we had to have somebody come in, but there's really nobody else that is trained and has ever needed to be trained to run. To be honest, whenever I've been on vacation, whether I'm in LaGrange or out of town, I've typically ran the bus phone from 5:15 to 8, to 8, yes. It's not the most convenient thing, but unfortunately, and we've never had a situation like we are in right now. We are down to 1 driver due to 3 drivers in the past 9 months that have had to leave us due to medical reasons, 2 back-to-back within 3 months. So we've been aggressively looking for another driver. We did just hire Gary Dykes. I know quite a few of you know who he is. He starts tomorrow. So the bus went down to 1 driver for about almost 4 weeks now. James Livers, who is my full-time driver currently, has been working overtime hours. He's been amazing. We've only had to shut the bus down a week, 8 to 10 hours every week for the last 4 weeks. And we've decided where are the times of the day where the least ridership comes, and that's usually at the end of the day between 2 and 5. We do not have a lot of riders. Most people want to get up and get out early, get to their doctor's appointments, get to the grocery store, get to their jobs. So what I found out through the years is that to correspond and communicate with businesses and ridership and people is I have a mass text alert. So I have all my businesses on my alert, all my riders who ride, and I haven't had one complaint come, knock on wood, come through my bus phone or my dispatch, even through Heather or myself, that have stated that they've been disappointed that it's not running full-time. Obviously, we want it up and running full-time hours, but we've tried to make the best accommodations that we can for the last 3.5 to 4 weeks, and shutting it down in the later part of the day has worked out way better. James has ran that bus every morning and sometimes way into the afternoon to help accommodate until the second driver is trained.
So are you still looking for one more driver?
We
or-
are, yes. We're looking
Is
for
that-
one more part-time.
Part-time?
Yes, so we
Gotta
have
find
one
out what that
full-time
Blaine
and 2
Anderson's
part-time.
up to.
I'm sorry?
I'm pointing at Blaine over here who knows how to drive a bus.
Hey. So yes, ultimately, we'd like to have 3 drivers total. We'd like to have them be a little bit experienced because we are dealing with a lot of elderly people, or we're dealing with working a handicap lift. We're working with people with disabilities. So I don't want to just hire what I would quote unquote say a warm body. I want someone who has a little bit of experience with driving a cutaway bus or driving some kind of a vehicle. Oldham County Transportation is trying to help right now with locating, trying to find drivers. TARC is trying to help us.
What's it pay? I mean, we're on video here. What's it pay?
The pay starts anywhere from 16 to 18 an hour.
All right, 16 to 18 an hour. And what are the hours that we're looking for?
It'd be in the afternoon. The shift would start at 12:30 to 5, and it would be 2 to 3 days a week.
All right, so there you go, everybody watching. 12:30 to 5, 16 and 18 an hour.
Thank you. Okay.
So in the morning from 5:15 to 8 o'clock, what do you say the amount of calls are that we get or the problems that we would have?
It really depends. I call the driver every morning at 5:15, go over the schedule for that day, because between 2 and 5, if my other dispatcher gets any calls for pickups or people who are canceling, that's when we go over everything. If we're going over weather conditions, alerts, road closures, anything like that might affect our route, that's my conversation piece with my driver. I'm also making sure my driver is up and ready and is going to be at the bus to be able to transport people. Like I said, there are some days I can get 15 calls in those hours. There's some days I can get 4 calls. It just depends. But state statute does state that if you have a federally funded vehicle on the road transporting people, you have to have a dispatcher on call during that time.
I hear what Kenneth is saying. I think it seems like we have a lot of overlap. We've got officers that are obviously awake and on the street and all that. We've got 911. We've got Oldham Central Dispatch. We've got a lot of things. It seems like is that what you were getting at?
Well, I
There's
just
some
wanna know if it's
overlap.
on call or on site, because.
It's on, I probably used the wrong language. You have to be on call. Maybe I shouldn't have put on site. You need to be on call to answer phones if someone is driving a federally funded vehicle.
So, all right. So from 5:15 to 8 o'clock, you're, I guess, working from home technically?
Correct, yes. Mhm. Yeah, I agree, Joe. Sue Fuller, who was the bus director before me, was the exact same. She worked from home and then came in and worked from, opened up the office at 8 and left at 2.
Is that how she was hired in, Joe? During those days and times when this bus started? I'm sorry. Is that how Sue Fuller was hired in to start like working at 6 o'clock in the morning? Yes, sir. Is that how it was? So that's what the job description is called for ever since day one?
They don't have to come in on site. You can work from home. You clock in from home?
I'm sorry?
You clock in from home?
No, we do a paper timesheet, so yes, it'll be filled out on my timesheet, but yes. Mhm.
Interesting. This bus situation is a very unique animal. It
sounds like it's a pretty, I mean, it's pretty important.
It's elaborate, very elaborate bus service.
No,
And
I mean, it sounds like it's an important, we need it
It's
for
not
our
it's not
community.
just picking people up at certain corners at certain times. If you listen to the calls per day, and when people are trying to get a dialysis appointment met, it becomes like it's a high class taxi cab, and it's you pick them up based on what their needs are, and it just doesn't do a revolving thing around the city. It goes off course all the time,
All day long.
just to accommodate people.
Correct.
That's what it basically does. Now
It's almost like
I
it's
guess
almost
if
like
we
a
were
fixed, I'm sorry.
Louisville TARC or Louisville Transit, you would be at 5th and Chestnut at 222 every day. If you were there,
different.
fine. If you weren't,
Right.
you just kept on
Right.
going. But ours is a very nice bus service.
It's
for the
kind of like
people-
a
for the
mix
people.
between a fixed route and an Uber service.
I was going to say, is there any other city that has a taxi cab service that's almost free?
I know we have not raised our
That's a-
fees since I started, and I do that because
I can't think of any other city where you can just call and somebody come and pick you up and take you wherever you want to go.
very true. Very true.
John Black will probably come pick you up though.
John Black's offered to drive the bus.
That's pretty good.
But yes, it's a very unique gift that our city has for our residents. We get calls still in Buckner, into Henry County, Trumbull County. Can the bus come out here? And unfortunately, if we were ever to consider that, the wear and tear on the vehicles and everything would go so much quicker than it is now. It's like it's keeping it confined to the city limits of LaGrange has really been a benefit. Yes, unfortunately, we can't take everybody everywhere, but I think the way the route was set up really does cover. It's a 12-mile route that goes around the city with deviations all day long. I mean, if you've ever been in a meeting with me in my office or sat, the phone is ringing all the time, even when I'm on Zoom calls and that, for people who need rides and that. And so we do our best to accommodate all the residents.
I guess my question is, from that 5:15 to 8 o'clock, I know that you're not just the bus coordinator, you're the HR director.
Mhm.
So are you working from home on HR responsibilities, or is that something that you could do while you're on the clock here rather than coming in?
Sure, I do a lot of things from home. I'm sure Chief Collette could say that I take calls from police officers all the time because they work different shifts, and if they call my phone or they email me, I email them right back. I'm working off my email and so forth. I mean, there's not a lot of people that want to call me at 5:30 in the morning with an HR question, but there are police officers that are up at that hour and maybe getting ready to finish their shift and will email me or have a question about a recent claim that maybe just happened. And I don't think there's an officer that wouldn't say that I respond back to them probably within the hour, if not sooner.
Mayor, does any of our employees clock in, or is us all just we trust that they're here whenever they get here and we just trust them to be on
The
time?
the only ones that clock.
And I'm not saying that Katie's
the
not
only
on time. I'm
the
not
only
saying
ones
that. I'm
the
Thank
only
you.
ones that clock in are hourly people. The rest of them are salaried, and they basically get their time done, but they're not punching the clock, Jason.
okay.
They're not punching the clock.
The hourlies do, but that's it. All
Yeah,
the salaries.
because if she's
Okay.
an hourly employee right now, we'd be paying her time and have to stand there, is what we'd be doing. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
as an hourly employee. But they don't punch clocks. You get the job done. And, I'm going to say this tonight, and some people might like it and some may not. But Katie, human resources is not an easy job. It's a hard job. It makes people be accountable for things. There's been days here that people weren't accountable because there was no need to fill out a timesheet or anything, and that's how it was. And it's sort of sad that Sue Fuller and all the previous people to Katie, it never was a big issue. It was never a big issue. It's what was hired in to do. Keep the bus running, keep it running good, go after grants, get the job done. And I feel like Katie is being picked on because she's in this HR role. And that doesn't sit well with people. Some people, not all people. But people don't like to be overseen by someone that's keeping records for once, that has to turn in a timesheet, has to account for their hours. And it's a shame that everyone else prior to Katie was able to do this job and do it good, but now she's got this job that she took because I asked her to take it. She said, Mayor, I really don't want it. If you need me there, I'll take it. But it's a tough job when you're messing with people and their time clocks and accounting for their time. And I think that's where some of this is coming from. I hate to say it, but I think that's where it's coming from. Because all before this time today, this person was not ridiculed about getting the job done ever how she got it done. But when she takes on payroll, where she's responsible to take care of that to the T, to report it accurately, to get time sheets turned in. And I know there's people probably sitting here watching tonight, says, Mayor, you're not wrong. You're not right on this. But I think I am. It's a shame because I tell you what, she would give up this HR job tonight if someone else would take the thing. Because that's what she's dealing with, is because she's being accused of not working enough hours. And that's what this job has always been entailed. Start at 5:45 in the morning and get the job done. Who else in this city sitting in this room tonight is up at 5:45 other than Blaine Anderson? Kenneth Powell, Blaine Anderson, because Blaine Anderson is going to do a pre-trip on a school bus because I used to do what he does. But seriously, if any other person wants this HR job, I'm sure Katie would give it up because it's a total humiliation. And why are you doing this to me? Why do I have to do this for you? I heard it today. We can't get some people's time sheets in. That's the way it's supposed to be operated. So if y'all want Katie to come to work at 6 o'clock in the morning, then I guess that's what we'll do. But no one prior to her had to do it. They just said, get the job done. that was her only job when she first came in, or was bus transportation director. But I've added on to her HR director. That is a nightmare to try to satisfy employees because they've got a lot of issues. So that's all I'm going to say about it.
I'd just like to clarify. I don't want to say it's always a nightmare but I think I'll just make a blanket statement. A lot of people don't like change. They don't like change. And for years that I was here, we were run a certain way. And when we decided to redo our personnel policy after almost 15 years, we went from a 40-page manual to a 170-page manual. And there was a lot of change in this manual, and it affected all different people. And I think people just got used to doing what we've always done, and change is hard, and somebody has to manage the change. And sometimes I've done HR for other companies in the past. I've managed groups of 200 and 300 people. And yes, I was not always well liked. HR is not always the most well liked position in a business because you have to hold people accountable. Sometimes you have to write people up. Sometimes, unfortunately, you have to even terminate. It's not fun. But if you're following rules and protocols and policies that are in place, and you've done everything you possibly can, then that's what I've had to do. It's been a hard transition, but I'm doing the best job that I can between running HR, doing payroll, the bus, handling 600 accounts quarterly for insurance premium collection. I took over ARPA for 4 years with the help of Trey Kamer primarily. It's been a lot on my plate, and I'm not out always talking to all of you and talking to people in this, in our offices, because I am actually really busy in my office. And anybody that would love to come in and sit down with me any day, I'd be more than welcome to have you sit down, and I can talk to you about everything I do. Like a lot of directors, we all wear multiple hats. Many of us do. So we're doing multiple things. When we're a city this size, I feel like that's inevitable and so forth. But I do believe I work very hard. I do get up every morning, and James Livers will tell you that I call him on the dot at 5:15 every single morning. And I've done that for the past 8 years I've been here. I don't like to make another dispatcher wake up that early. And if Heather was here, she would tell you that, because she has volunteered many times. But I feel like that's not necessary. I'm a supervisor. I'm going to run this. This is my ship, and I'm going to take care of it. So if I've offended people, I apologize, but I do the best job that I can in the positions I have.
Katie, I'd like to respond to what Mayor said. Mayor, you mentioned timesheets and being held accountable. And I think that's one of the things that I mentioned. You said there's no clocking in or out, for the salary people. And then that's fine. But that's why I was questioning it. And you'd mentioned that she was ridiculed. I don't think anybody's been ridiculed. Certainly not here this evening. But our
That's
job
correct.
is to ask questions. And we're in charge of the taxpayers' money, and we deserve to know where the taxpayers' money is going, and that people are performing as well as we expect them to, and to look for inefficiencies in places where we can find inefficiencies and correct those. And if that's overlap by having somebody, and I'm not saying this is the case, but we need to ask these questions and find out. If somebody just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring or being somebody else's alarm clock to wake them up, well, that didn't make a whole lot of sense to pay somebody to do that when we've got police officers that are up, we've got 911 and Oldham Central Dispatch operators and stuff like that's up. If all we need is somebody to answer a phone or pick up the phone and call and wake somebody up.
It's not about me.
And I'm not saying that that's
Okay,
it, but
thank
I'm
you. I
saying
appreciate that.
those are questions that we need to ask.
Right.
And, I'm on the personnel committee with some others, Mayor. So we kind of look at doing the handbooks and figuring out all the rules and regulations of the handbooks and who wants insurance and what kind of insurance. And I get that there's a lot to it, but my job sitting here that I was elected to do is to ask questions and find out how we can do things better and are things running the way they should be. So anyway, I just want to say that I don't think asking questions, even tough questions about, performance or whatever, I don't think that's ridiculing. I think even more so it's expected.
I don't think he's talking
Our
about
job.
the council either. I
No,
don't think
I'm
so.
not.
Okay,
It
I'm
doesn't-
not
okay.
talking
Not
about
from the
the
council at all.
Okay.
Nothing
All
at
right.
all. So
All right. I just want to clarify
that. Right. Okay. Thank you.
I am chairperson of the Personnel Committee, and I can say that she has taught me more about the personnel handbook and how it runs. I remember the original one from many years ago, the smaller one, and this one is so much more detailed. And And we've even gone to a
Conferences.
conference.
We
together.
have. Yes.
So, well,
Thank
she
you,
is
Lucy.
Very open to learn about what you do and teaching us.
Thank you.
I want to thank you.
My question wasn't so much as to, you're on call. Every director is on call. When
Sure.
you take that director's position, you're really never off call. That's
Sure.
your part of your job.
Right.
So I guess my question is, nobody calls me every morning and wakes me up to go do my job. So
I'm not
if we're
really-
having to hire people to call, to get a wake up call. Are you on your job? Maybe we need to hire new people.
Well,
And I know that I get a weekly schedule a lot of times from our parks department, or Corey lets me know what goes on in that department and so on and so forth. Do you have a weekly schedule for the drivers? to follow?
absolutely. But it
And-
changes day to day, hour to hour.
Understood.
Thank you.
Those things happen.
Right.
But I think my problem is that, we've got all of these directors. I mean, the police chief, the code enforcement officers, the parks director, the public works department, Corey could have, Corey's on call at 5 o'clock, whenever.
Sure.
If a tree falls or what. That's what
Right,
I'm saying.
chief's always on call.
Everybody's
Sure.
on call.
When we're
So,
whether at home or in the
what
office.
I'm
sure.
saying is, we're getting 2 hours and 45 minutes of home. You can say you're working. I don't know if you're working, but if you're in the office, I feel like, you're here, you're working on something, whether it's from payroll or whatever HR related as well. So I guess that was just my question, as that only director basically gets 3 hours of homework supposedly,
Right.
compared to the other directors. How does that look as a
Well-
whole to everybody? And then you leave it too, because you say you've been up at 5:15. I'd say that, we've got other directors that drive probably close to, 45 minutes. So they're up early too to get
What do,
here.
what do you mean drive 45 minutes? I'm
From
sorry.
where they live to where to come to work. They don't work in the city, so they have to get here on time. So they're probably up at 5:15 getting ready for work, to drive 45 minutes to get to work, probably 15, 20 minutes early to get prepared for work.
And same with me. I'm up before 5:15.
So, I don't know. I just think it's a big work as a director as a whole, when you set yourself separate from the other directors and you're the HR director.
Right.
It's kind of almost like, this is what I can do because I'm the HR director and I'm the director of that.
Well,
I
I
just think it sets a.
I wouldn't
the
say that,
precedent to
Kenny.
me.
I wouldn't say that this bus has run this way for all the years, even prior to me, with no conflict of that. I also know that John mentioned earlier that this is a very special entity. The bus does not run city hall hours 8 to 4:30.
Right.
It runs at 5:15. A lot of our directors, not most, but a lot do have set hours. Even though Corey's on call at home, he comes in from this hour to this hour a day, his 10-hour shift. Even though,
I know Stephanie's been at my house at 11 o'clock at night to look at a car that was parked in front of my house.
and
You take a
I
picture?
understand that.
So, I know she works. And I would say that because-
Josh, who gets up if there's a water leak at 5 a.m.? Okay. So there's always somebody there on call.
I just want to interject here. I feel like there's been a whole lot of concern that somebody could work from home, and I really don't understand where this is coming from. During COVID, I think a lot of places were able to adapt to people working from home. And if somebody is a professional and doing their job, it doesn't matter whether they're sitting at a desk at City Hall or they're sitting at home doing that job. I respect that job and I have no concerns about that.
I appreciate that very much, Laura. Thank you so much. I guess I look at it as we're all measured on the work we do. And if I'm not doing my job and my HR work is not getting done in payroll, and we have complaints on payroll or insurance premiums, deposits aren't going into the bank on time, or the bus, we get lots of complaints, the bus isn't running, or we don't, then I hold me accountable to that. But I believe, and until I hear otherwise from the mayor or from Cindy, who I work with closely in finance, that I believe I get my job done in the time. And like I said, that bus does not run 8 to 4:30. It starts out at 5:45 every day. And that was how I was hired in. Now, if the mayor wants to change that down the road, him and I have already talked about that. But it never was an issue before. And regarding to HR, I don't think I've had an employee come to me that said they have not been able to reach me even after 2 o'clock. If people email me, if they call me, if they text me, the officers all have my cell phone number, my personals. I'll answer them. I'm there all the time, as is probably Stephanie Winther, Steve Mahoney, Chief Collette. We all know that. We aren't just on a set 40 hours a week, but my job in particular, that's how I was hired in. And then I took on additional responsibilities, and I've been able to get them done. And unless I don't know that I'm not getting them done, but I'm pretty sure I get my work finished with all the hats that I wear.
I believe that you answer to the mayor.
I do.
And if we have any questions, we need to ask him.
Thank you.
Cindy Albano, she doesn't have to come in at 5:45 to start working on audits. She can come in at 8:15 and work till 5:15 or 6 o'clock to work on audits. Stephanie Winther doesn't have to come in at 5:45 to start citing people for cars parked in the street. She doesn't have to do that. She can start that at 8:15 or 8:30. Chief Collette, he doesn't have to come in unless he's called in on an emergency situation. Corey Rusneck doesn't have to report to the Public Works until the time that he thinks he needs the time to sit, get his day thought out, what crews are going where. It doesn't have to be at 5:45. I think they clock in down there at, not Corey because he's salary, but they clock in at
6:45.
6:59, 6:49. But there's one person that runs a department that doesn't have that ability to start at 8:15 or 8:30. And that's the director of our public transportation. Now, if you all, this goes to personnel, and you want Katie showing up at the office at 5:45, then maybe that's where we will go. But I don't think any previous director has been told if she gets the job done, she's on call, get the job done. We're paying you to get the job done. Every how many hours of the day it takes you to get the job done, get it done. Don't hope my phone doesn't ring because you're not doing your job. But I never get anybody calling me complaining about the bus service except one person. And I'm not going to name their name, but she hounds me to death. But I'm nice to her. I say, we're going to get to you. Well, we don't like the way the guy rolls me off the bus in the wheelchair, But we're going to get those things. But that's a unique position, unique situation that he has got itself into. It's a good service. It was started by Joe or Bill Lamline or someone, Bill Lamline. And I think if you take that service away, you're going to have a lot of people that do not have their own mode of transportation that is very helpful to those who need it day in and day out. So,
Mayor, this is nothing new about people being at home and start answering that phone. This has been going on for years. They that's what they did. That's when they start taking them to work or on that bus, and all the employees we had during my time, they always answered that phone at home. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah,
That's when it runs. So it wasn't like they had to come into City Hall at 5 o'clock in the morning and start answering that bus phone. It's been going on for years.
Okay, guys, I hear get the job done as long as the job's getting done and nobody's complaining. But we have seen people complain that, and I know we've had reasons. I know we've had extenuating circumstances where we've lost bus drivers and employees, but we're down to one right now. So there is some complaints, and we've trained all these people to be dependent on this bus by starting this bus service. So now they're trained to be dependent on this bus, and they absolutely rely on it. And it's, I don't want to say it's life and death because they can always call 911 and get an ambulance, but they've got to go get their medicine and stuff like that. And we're down to one driver. So there are some concerns there that we need. And I know there's a plan. We've talked about it internally. that there's a plan there to get some of the things corrected. And Gary Dykes is coming on, and we're working on hiring more people. But anyway, there are some. We need to make some finish making the corrections there to get things right to ship.
Okay. No one else has anything else for Katie. Thank you, Katie. Let's
you.
go to our next director, which will be.
Thank you, Katie.
Greg Collette. Chief, you're up.
Chief, what time did you get up? No, I'm kidding.
Probably around 7:30. Matter of fact, I think it was Katie that called me. We working on an issue. Good evening to everybody. I'll start with our December activity if I can get this.
Just speak up if you can, Chief, for me, please. Speak up and so everybody can.
Okay,
Thank you.
got it. In December 2025 LPD CAD activity, which is the self-initiated and dispatch calls for service. Our total was 1,030 and lost it. There we go. It's jumping around on me. Top 5 dispatch run types for that month was non-injury traffic collisions were up. Probably a lot to do with holiday traffic. Citizens calling for officers to return their call by phone request, welfare check of persons and domestic situations. Once again, probably related to the holiday. It made the top 5 list, and suspicious persons, suspicious vehicle checks. The officer initiated activity, neighborhood patrols. Once again, we're concentrating quite a bit of our patrol time in the neighborhood because of the theft out of vehicle and vehicle theft concerns. Business checks, those are the checks that the officers are individually checking businesses throughout the night during their hours of closure. The directed or extra patrols are those areas that we are receiving specific complaints, whether it be traffic or suspicious activity, and officer traffic stops, round those out. Since we're in the new year, this is the CAD activity total for our department solely. 12,105 is the total for 2025, a little bit up from 2024, which was 11,848. Once again, keep in mind that is both dispatch calls for service or those activities officers have called out on. Well, what I'll give you a glimpse into are some of our reporting for 2025, of course, through the databases that we have on our required reporting, such as criminal offense reports, collision reports. Those go through what we call KOPS, which goes to KSP, then the FBI for state and national statistics. There is review and approval processes, so we don't have a true number by number gauge, but these are quick queries just to give you an idea of what we're facing or what we had faced in 2025. Our traffic collisions, as it was showing today, was 289 total. Out of that 289, 32 were injury collisions. You can see up in the map, the color coding. Of course, First Street, Highway 53 is always a problem area. The dots all run together almost in a continuous line. The gray dots are non-injury traffic collisions. 420 criminal offense reports. And there's such a varied number of color dots. I won't fit on here, but I'll give you a quick caption of those, of what the different dots will represent, each one of in the mapping. The purple dots are your other criminal offense reports. They would be misdemeanor crimes such as criminal mischief, damages mailbox, attempted crimes, or maybe those offenses the officer came upon on a traffic stop and charged somebody with possession of an illicit narcotic or a warrant type of arrest. The red dots are assaults. And once again, 289 out of the 420 are other reports, which would be below Part 1 crimes, the misdemeanor cases. As far as burglaries, true burglaries for the year were 13. Auto thefts registered at 13. Out of that 13, of course, we all know that the streaks of bandits, if you will call them, that move into our area in the county and into the city That number, you have to keep in mind, may not be a total 13 contributed to that. Sometimes the officer has to take a stolen vehicle report, maybe family or domestic related, and the initial charge may appear to be vehicle theft, but it may be ultimately determined to be unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. JC3 reports is the lingo for domestic or neglect type situations, family type reports. For us, we had 143. Of those 143 reported, 116 were non-arrest reports. 27 met the elements for a domestic or assault for domestic arrest. So that's where we stood there. Citations, 399. Out of the 399, you'll see traffic related. Those would be your speeding or moving violations, things of that nature. The green marker would show a citation that resulted in a criminal charge. A lot of these green dots you'll see concentrated in our retail area, shoplifting at our major retailers. Seems to always be a continuous problem. A lot of those are citation releases. They're not physical arrest in some cases, so there's a lot of citations that are issued that way. Blue markers are warrant arrest. The officer has an interaction or a traffic stop, determines that person has an outstanding warrant and affects an arrest as a result of that warrant. That was just a quick glimpse. Like I said, we'll be working on our annual report that much more detailed, have that mapping and a further breakdown that you all can have in your hands and sort of go in depth with.
Chief, I have a question. What, who determines on the officers, and I realize you can't give out too much information, but how do you kind of determine the route that the officers follow? As far as, I know they have some businesses to check to make sure that they're locked up. Maybe they have certain neighborhoods that you check different days and things like that. Do you determine that, or do the officers themselves determine?
The officers will do it with a lot of their own discretion, but of course, as you get into our evening night shift, they know the time the retailers are closing, or there may be high concern of employees leaving. Our subdivisions, the officers almost, when they're assigned to shifts for so long, they sort of develop their own routine and knowledge of the beat, so to speak, of what may be going on in neighborhoods, and they hit those areas. When I mentioned those extra patrols in there, when you as a council or a citizen or a business owner reaches out to me or any of our supervisors saying, hey, something's not right, I think something's going on here, or we had a little bit of damage, we think somebody was in the alleyway, they notify us. What myself or another supervisor will do, put out an extra patrol notice to all our patrol staff saying, hey, business owners thinks there's something going on, something's not right. That is directing that officer to alter his regular patrol, pay special attention to that area and check for the behavior and alter your patrol patterns. Same thing with speeding. You know, a lot of the speeding complaints when school is in session, peak times at school dismissal or time to be at school seems to be traffic time. So they may pull off residential patrol and address a particular area for traffic concerns and traffic safety. If that answers your question.
But it's up to the individual officers.
Yes.
You're not like Officer Brown, you're going over here, Officer Ray, you're in charge of watching for speeders and stop sign runners.
Where we've been at a deficit of officers, it's been a little bit difficult to do. As our numbers increase, we will subdivide the city into patrol districts to keep one officer on one side of the tracks, another officer on the other side of the tracks, just for response needs and officer responses. But to be honest, I think you all have seen the challenges that we've gone through with staffing. We've been experimenting with our shift coverage hours and things of that nature to help. And that goes into our general topic discussion, which for those that didn't notice, we did have another lateral hire, an experienced officer, start December 18th, which puts us up to 14 out of our 16 sworn positions. And we have another interview tomorrow for a potential lateral candidate to meet our supervisors and myself to see how that goes. And hopefully we can extend an offer to that officer. And that'll get us up to 15 out of 16. So we're hoping 2026 is replenishing our numbers.
Awesome. Are there, Chief, and I know it's all of our favorite social media, but you see things on social media about people running stop signs at the 4-way there in LaGrange, or And I know speeding requests in different roads, you have that kind of thing too. How does that work if you have people calling in or complaining or on social media or however they call us and complain and we how do you just kind of put that out to the officers and let them kind of address it on their own?
We'll gather. Sometimes with social media, has to be taken with a grain of salt
Sure,
sometimes.
sure.
But I urge people to either call and talk to me personally or ask for any of our sergeants or an officer for that matter. An officer can put out an extra patrol request and say they engage in a conversation with a resident saying in the 200 block in North Fourth, we have a speeding problem or disregarding the stop sign or whatever. We'll communicate with each other through email and also at our reports at info LaGrange Police KY.org. That's another reporting mechanism that our administrative coordinator keeps on watch and forwards out to us as another line of communication.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Chief.
No problem. Thank you.
Hey, Chief, when you do your follow-up annual report, will you be able to show us the differentiation between 2025 numbers versus, say, last year, 2024?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief.
Thank
you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. You too. Let's take about a quick 5 minutes, 6 minute break, folks. We've got a few people need to take a break real quick, and then we'll get finished up here as soon as we come back.
Waiting on Lucy. Come on, Lucy.
Laura, I'm coming too. Okay. Let's give the old woman a chance.
That's all right. Very good. We'll wait.
Okay. It's remiss and speech, but we didn't do without you. My mic was not on. But anyway, Beach is absent, so we're going to take off anyway. We got everyone else present. I think if we get into any legal question, we'll ask Jason Taylor for his opinion on the matter. So anyway, let's get going here. See, where were we? We're going to start back with Corey's not with us tonight. Corey, I think, has been under the weather a little bit. We'll go with Steve Mahoney, our Parks Director. Welcome,
Yes,
Steve.
Mayor, members, neighbors. You started out today about asking future vision, and completely thrilled about the acceptance of that grant for the city. I know, Mayor, starting this job, we had kind of toured around and looked at things, and Springs, the lower Springs area, as I've kind of branded it with the skate park and the basketball going stuff, just had a natural beauty and landscape to put in. And when you say the word amphitheater, you're thinking big and massive and lights and all this stuff. I don't think that's where we're going. I think we could really put on something there that fits the demographic of our city, that we can bring in programs. If we can get, kid programs like Shakespeare in the Park and all this stuff in the summer, and then you can do concerts that not only that you do at the pavilion, because you don't want to mess up trackside tunes, but you could do a different something down there. So between that and the shade structures that are very much needed down at the skate park, that was the purpose of the grant. And I'm appreciative that the Peyton Head, I get those messed up, but accepted that. So I'm appreciative of that. So looking ahead, Dual and I, our goal, as the weather is just warming up a bit, these next couple of weeks is one of our goals is to clear out the area. And imagine you're standing down at the skate park and you're looking up to 309, and there's all that just weeds and mess. And there's such a natural beautiful spring there. Get that cleared out, make that nice so you can see there. I'm not talking about the big mature trees that offer shade. I'm talking about just the growth, the weeds, the vines, and all that stuff. And I think as the weeks tick on here toward the end of January into February, that'll be a main task that we're going to really hit upon in the Parks Department. Just cleaning that up and enhancing that there and bringing that Springs to life, because they did name it Springs Park, right? So anyway, some of the things we've been working on.
Steve, is the Springs area, once you clean it up, is it like a pretty spring?
It's visible, and actually it runs under the skate park itself. So there is I don't know the technical term, forgive me skateboarders watching, if you are. There's a jump that actually jumps over the springs at the skate park. I mean, it's like as big wide as this podium. But
That's
it actually
cool.
runs down the hill, and
Yeah.
it would be a natural, I think we should highlight it. Make
That's
it really
pretty
nice,
cool.
put some tables in and stuff. I think it's, yeah.
Good stuff.
The mayor asked, well, it wasn't just me, but between Heather and Shelby, we did celebrate our holidays here at with the city employees. So just some photos there and all that jazz. So we had our holiday party here, and that's something that we helped spearhead here in the Parks Department, make sure we were good to go with all that jazz. Our moto that we did get this year, that's our side-by-side. We outfitted that with a plow and a salt kit on the back, which has been, we haven't had a lot of snow, and it's been very manageable snow, but as you can see there, the sidewalks at Spring Parks, those parks, it doesn't matter what the weather is. We have our dog walkers and everything, and with this device, this tool here, I can zip up and down the trails right through there. And talking with my big brother Corey from Public Works, we can get in some of the tight spots along Main Street that they may struggle. So it's going to be a great partnership, as we can go clean up areas at the train museum or around City Hall there that they can't get their equipment. So it's been a great investment, and just some pictures there that how that played out with the couple snowfalls that we had. Eagle Creek, I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but we did stain all the wood out there with this beautiful stain. It's a picture of Dual. A lot of wood that we stained there on the top right. Top left, all the new fencing at Eagle Creek has been completed. They were able to put a fence along the dam wall, and actually that's an outdated photo. The fence actually has 4 boards down. So I just didn't get time to get a new photo of that. That will be stained probably in a year. You need to or paint it. You need to let the wood age, but it's really looks really, really nice out there. Part of my new responsibilities with the parks is I've taken over as of 2 days before Christmas, the Eagle Creek social media. So now they have 5 channels. They're well established at Eagle Creek Golf KY, the same as their website, eaglecreekgolfky.com. And we're trying to put more videos, more excitement out there for Eagle Creek. And one of the roles I'll be taking over will be sponsorship, selling the sponsorships that will go underneath the hole signs like you see there, hole 18. There's a placard about this big, and we will be selling sponsorship soon. I'm working with Beach to make sure we get the language correct on the 2-year contract for Eagle Creek sponsorship.
What do those run?
We're going to start at $1,000 a hole, and it'll be a 2-year term. So, and we're going to start them at the fiscal year July. So this gives me time to get them sold. If you're out there listening and you want to buy it right now, I'll get you up here as quick as I can. You get a couple months for free. We're not going to charge you till July 1. It'll be the fiscal year to fiscal year 2-year term. And we will give anybody that buys a whole sponsorship will get first right of refusal 2 years from now. And then we'll move on and refresh everybody 2 years. So
what will that look like, Steve? Like when you go and walk up to the hole, what size sign are you picturing? Like, how's that?
Yeah, I just didn't have a picture on my phone. But if you look here at where it says par 4, that square underneath of it, it's about a 3-inch gap, and it says sponsor. It says sponsor to the side, and they will have their company. It'll be a vinyl printout, white to match the white black. I'm going to suggest business to put QR code. You know, people have their phones, QR code it, go straight to the website and stuff. I have one mocked up that I can probably run, and I'll just text a picture of everybody to kind of see a mocked up one to see.
Right,
I unfortunately just did not have a photo to share. Trey, do you have you might have one on your phone of what the sign looks
I'll
like.
just add to what you're saying. So there were, I'm going to call them monument type signs on several of the holes. Several of those businesses aren't even in business anymore, or somebody had taken the plaques. So it just hadn't been maintained to its maximum potential, I guess. And so when we redid the T markers there, we put posts. Stephen and his guys and Public Works together put the signs and the posts on, and then this whole sponsorship's kind of the last part of completing that part of the project. But like Steve said, there's a lot of projects and a lot of work going on out there.
I think it looks very classy with the black signs, the white font. Even when we stained all that there with when you pull up, I hate to say this, but look at the dumpsters. They're beautiful. The dumpster doors are beautiful because it's stained with the black hardware on the dumpsters. It just really pops. And the signage out on the course with the new sponsorship signs, it's going to look very classy, very uniformed. And I think hopefully businesses will see that. I mean, it's essentially $500 a year for 2 years, $1,000 towards your marketing budget. I think it's a steal. So it gets a lot of traffic out there. Trey, how many golfers did they say they had last year? I don't recall.
I think they gave a number for rounds played, and I think it was around 25,000. So it doesn't necessarily mean 25,000 individual people, but there's obviously repeat customers and stuff. But a round is a person playing either the full 18 or the front or back 9.
I'm going to reach out to the previous businesses that I advertised out there. I still have those old placards and give them. I'm going to reach out to them first. But either way, if you're listening out there and you're interested, get a hold of me, and Beach will finish that up, and we'll get it going to get the contract and make sure you guys are protected. They're buying the sponsorship, but we want to promote your business and help you promote Eagle Creek.
Before you move on to
Yes, sir.
Well, and we're on this because I was going to ask this, and I'm glad that we're here.
You guys slow. Yeah, I'm glad you slowed me down, man.
Yeah, you're good. We have a fantastic golf course, and it's very nice and very well done. The one concern that I've got, and Trey, maybe you can help me because you're part of it, and I know the golf course is separate from our parks department. I live right across from it. My wife and I walk a lot, and we actually, when we walk our subdivision, we'll walk farther and we'll go around the clubhouse just to get more steps in to walk farther. Well, the one thing that my wife and myself and others even in my neighborhood that I've talked to, there is a lot of trash in the entrance of our golf course. I've watched a piece of foam like this float in our pond for a few weeks. I've picked foam out of that. Who's responsible for the cleanup? Because when you pull in, you've got that nice hill there now by our new parking spot, covered in trash. On the right-hand side, where the overflow for the pond dam is, covered in trash. A lot of times you'll go up there and the trash cans will be overflowing. Who's responsible for keeping that clean? Because we can go out there now, you can go out there tomorrow, and you'll see tons of trash all over the front. And that's the first thing that we see when we pull into our golf course. And we have a really nice golf course. I remember when it was privately owned and Jerry owned it, and it was just LaGrange Woods. It wasn't as nice as it is, but we have a really nice golf course that should, I mean, I know we've got a management couple out there that runs it and maintains it. What do they do as far as picking up trash? I mean, who's responsible for the trash that's out front?
They
Because
are.
There's a lot.
They are. They
So,
are.
You know, we need to either fix that. We need to, I know they get graded. You know, we need to hold them accountable for that, because that makes us look bad. Because literally I mean, I'm not kidding you. Those trash trucks, when they dump their trash, whether they're driving down 53 or coming out of whatever subdivision there, stuff blows everywhere. It just does. But when you got a piece of foam like this, another foam piece is floating in our pond out front when you pull in, I just think it looks bad, especially with a nice restaurant now, nice clubhouse, the golf course, everything. The fence looks great, and then you got all this trash. Something maybe that we need to talk to them about, or something that we need to take to the Parks Committee.
I'll follow up with them. It's although the golf course falls underneath the Parks and Rec umbrella, it is managed, contracted out with those folks, and we have a really good working relationship.
Right.
So I'll say, hey, a concern was brought to City Hall, and yeah.
Do they
I'm
do the
just asking.
groundskeeping too?
I'm sorry.
Groundskeeping and mowing and all that?
That is all Eagle Creek. The
Their staff.
Cindy helped me with the name, whatever their LLC is, they handle it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There may be a deal that Seasons changes the trash can by the restaurant door. I don't know. It could be something worked out like
Absolutely.
that, but
We have, it's been a work in progress, I'll say, to the least, but we have tried to make strides on, I'm just gonna call it like the front of the house, your appearance. It's your first thing you see. It's the last thing you see when you're leaving. So trying to manage that better, but then also continuing to make improvements on the course itself, which, those don't happen overnight either. There have been some significant improvements, I'd say, over the last year, and there's some others that are still in process. We haven't totally closed out our RFP process for the putting green, practice putting green, but that's the next major enhancement that's going to happen on property. But we have talked about the grounds, so we'll just reiterate to their staff.
I'm sure during the winter months, they're probably they're not staffed with as many grounds because you don't really need them.
It is more of a skeleton crew, I would say, in the winter months. They do have a lot of high school and college kids. That's what they, that's usually what they do during the summer months because they're home from school and stuff like that. We have discussed other options to still use that as a workforce, but also to hire a more full-time staff to help do stuff like that.
I just think that's just kind of common courtesy of what you take pride in. If that's your job, and we're paying these people a lot of money to maintain that and keep it clean. Picking up trash is just picking up trash.
Agreed.
If you got trash in your yard, you pick it up because when somebody comes over, you don't want it to be there. It just looks good.
I will send a message to them. So, and
Thank you.
Yeah, they've been very responsive. Anything I've asked or anything they've asked of me, I've tried to be responsive back. So thank you for bringing it up. Up next for me this Friday will be our fourth skate night, January 9th. 6 to 8 last month, and the month of December was canceled because City Hall happened to be closed that day because with the weather. So we went ahead and closed here. The school system was closed. November, we had, I think we said 133 skaters and about 40 people in this room, and it was a hot mess, but everybody seemed to have fun. So come out this Friday, January 9th, 6 to 8. We'll open the doors about 15 minutes, so you'll sign those lovely waivers and get your skates on, and we'll have a good time. And then last but not least for me is we're doing this thing in a couple Saturdays from now. It's called New Year, New You. The folks that teach the yoga class and the folks that teach the line dancing classes weekly they wanted to come together and do something. I have a great working relationship with them. And then we tried to figure out how we could do something in the winter months for the community that was free, but purposeful. And they talked about the Humane Society of Oldham County had a wish list of supplies that they needed. So those ladies are coming in on the 17th from essentially 6 to 8. We ask adults 18 and plus to come over, try some yoga, and then afterwards try some line dancing. It's free, but we do ask for a donation that we can pass off to the Humane Society of Oldham County. So just something we're doing in a couple Saturdays from now. So that's it.
Other than a business sponsor,
yeah,
would you all accept like a family sponsor for a hole? You've got there's been a lot of people that have come through that golf course that might have a loved one that was a member or golfed there quite a bit, and maybe they wanted to sponsor a hole in their honor. Have you all thought about that?
I think it's a very valid question, and I think it's probably something we definitely should really iron out because you don't.
Well,
nothing against families, but
maybe that could.
How do you say yes or no to sponsors?
Right, but that could be an additional fund or an additional plaque that may be a little bit smaller or something that you could, depending on how many sponsorships you get, it might
Sure.
be something to look into to fill a void if you need
Yeah,
to.
no, that's actually pretty smart.
Okay, Steve, nobody else has any other questions for you? Thank you very
Oh.
much, and go ahead.
I'm just curious, what are your hours?
My hours? Park department, we're a 5-day a week.
Yeah.
We're 8-hour days. So my guys work 7 to 3:30 officially. The theory on that was set before me because it's cooler to start mowing. And, but you know, it's kind of a little flexible right now. I usually get here about 6:30 because I'm just early bird, and I usually don't leave until about 5 because it's just easier with traffic. And that's pretty much, we're a 5-day a week rotation. So
You do a fantastic job. Thank you.
yeah. Well, usually I do the best work in the evenings on the email because I can answer everybody appropriately. A lot of rentals, man. I can't wait to see. I get with Cindy at the end of the fiscal year and see what we brought in on rentals. This place is booked tight. So, and that's a lot of customer service in the evenings and emails on the weekends and all that jazz. But yeah, I'm appreciative of my crews that works and appreciate the opportunity. So thank you. Anybody, anything else? All right.
Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Okay, next, Stephanie Winther, code enforcement.
Oh, I see one thing. Mayor, the stream messed up in the beginning. It crashed. The gentleman in the plaid, I know you said something, but I'm pretty sure no one heard it. So I would ask maybe he should come back up at the last public comment and repeat what he said because I don't think it went out live. So I just wanted to share that with the gentleman back there in the plaid because the computer crashed, okay?
It was magic.
Okay, go ahead, Stephanie.
Okay, so I worked on trying to get some formal reports written up for everybody to finalize the year, and I halfway succeeded. Everybody should have in front of them the compensation tax report. Now that closed it out for the fiscal year first quarter, which would have been July through September. So that is just the first quarter fiscal year. If anybody has any questions on that. We had a busy year last year in the code enforcement department. Our top calls, complaints were, of course, tall grass issues, especially in the summer, parking issues, mostly the cars that were parking in the street. We had a few miscellaneous issues like parking and disabled parking. We had 80 property maintenance code issues. Now we lump these together as one whole thing for our report. And this is for like mostly rental properties when they have landlords who there's a broken window and the landlord does not feel like they need to repair it. And so code enforcement has to get involved. When anybody from a rental property or an apartment calls to make a complaint of a property maintenance issue, our first question to them is, have you reported this to your management? We are not going to get involved until they have made every attempt to get this repaired with their management. We only get involved when push comes to shove and nothing's being completed. A good case in point this year, we have several landlords that are moving people into substandard living conditions. And we had one lady that moved in April into an apartment that in her closet in her bathroom is her hot water heater. And there was stuff in there and she didn't know what that stuff was, but they assured her they were going to get it cleaned out. Come to find out, it was where the sewer had backed up into her apartment, and it was about 2 inches of dried feces, dried toilet paper. Finally, in September, she called us because they were still not cleaning it up. And so those are the kind of conditions that we are getting involved in. We've talked a little bit in ordinance committee with maybe some sort of rental inspection program. We haven't really dug into that very deep yet, but some of these apartment managers, some of these rental landlords are moving residents into very substandard living conditions. And I think that's something that we really need to take seriously for this next year. Is we've got to protect all of our citizens. And I know I don't let government get involved in my business either, but I think that there comes a point where we need to help out all of our residents, especially those who can't afford to hire an attorney, who can't afford to go out and get their own help. So we lumped all our property maintenance concerns into one, and there were 80 of them this year. I would say we've probably got 95% of those resolved. And several of the landlords know now when they see my number call up, my number shows up on their caller ID, they better answer it. And they're very, very quick to get things accomplished. We just need to somehow get them to understand that when your tenant calls you, that's when you need to get things resolved. We also worked with Corey in Public Works on going around the city and finding dead trees, especially the ones that are right next to the road. Corey and his crew took care of a lot of the dead trees that were in the right of way. I took care of the trees that were in people's yards that were going to be a hazard to fall into the road or onto the sidewalk. We had 44 of those calls this year, 44 of those issues. And then I also work again directly with Patrick. He does the construction site erosion prevention sediment control inspections now. I still hold a certification, so he pulls me in when there's starting to be issues and we have to start writing citations. We had 36 construction site issues this year, and we had 11 encroachment issues in those construction sites. And I think, I didn't write the number down, but I think we ended up writing like 26 citations this year on construction sites for issues. So that is something that we continue to keep up with. Last year, we issued 4 permits for chickens. We issued 16 sign permits. We issued 2,101 business licenses. That's how many we processed in our city. Now, some of those are small little businesses where people work from home and they sell things from home. This does not include farmers market. That is exempt. It does not include produce because we wrote up the ordinance for that. That is exempt. So we did that many business licenses. And then Aaron.
Stephanie, do you get like food trucks and rental pop-up places like that? Is that your
That is, and
purview?
we do all of that also. And that's actually, I didn't include that in here. We call those vendor permits, and those are calculated separately. So that is not included in here unless it's a business, like some of these food trucks come every month or every week and set up. So they do get a business license, so they would fall under this. But most of them are like Oldham County Day. It's an event vendor. It's a different permit, different permitting process, but we do keep up on all of that. And anytime,
Just curious, how does that work? Do you go around to each one and make sure that they have a sticker, or do they most of them?
No, thank goodness.
So how's that work?
Jason Taylor was the chair of the ordinance committee when we did this. Thank goodness he had enough sense to do this the right way. So what happens is the event itself, if they have more than 10 vendors that are going to be at their event, then they do an event vendor permit and they charge $5 for each vendor they're going to have, and they pay us one lump sum. If it's under 10, if the event has under 10 vendors, then each vendor has to contact me directly and get their own license.
It's $5 for someone to come set up a food truck?
If it's for an event that there's more than 10 people. So that was like Stewart's Promotion. When Stewart's Promotion came to City Place, and they had like 150 individual vendors that were going to be there. For all of those vendors, they had to pay $5 per vendor. Oldham County Day.
You see my face as
I
we're
see your
taking
face.
taking food out of our local employees and our local businesses for $5.
So for $5. So
Wow.
Oldham County Day, you
That
guys have
needs to
more than
change.
10, don't you, for Oldham County Day?
What's that?
For all vendors that are selling things? Okay. Now, if it's just a small event, okay, like Alley Loop, the Alley Loop projects, they usually have less than 10, and those vendors are charged $20 for their temporary permit.
Wow, I didn't realize that was the case. So somebody can open up a coffee truck right in front of LaGrange Coffee Roasters for $5. No, none of the taxes that they have to pay and all that, and still all their business
That is correct.
for $5.
That is correct.
I don't think too many people, I mean, I know from being booth chairman of Old County Day, I wouldn't do that to our merchants.
Right, and I know like for
That's why we
Alley-
keep
the
it all.
Alley Loop or any of the projects on Main Street, if they have a taco truck, they don't put them down there by the Mexican restaurants. They'll
No.
put them down at Springs Park. I know for this ice skating event we had, we did have hot chocolate and coffee truck, and it was based at Springs Park. But you got to think at that time of night, I don't even think Coffee Roaster is open at that time of day. So there really wasn't a conflict on that type of situation. So the people that set up these events, they're pretty cognizant of who they're inviting out here, and they do try and invite things that are different than what we have.
Mhm.
Usually they're more of a snacky type truck, like pretzels or popcorn, snow cones, that kind of
Carnival,
thing. So that it's-
carnival type food.
Well, and
it's
thank
not a-
goodness,
it's
but
not
I'd
a-
like to have some teeth in that too, so that we have, good fences make good neighbors type thing. I'd like to. It's good that Don and the rest of them are smart and what they put out there, but I'd like to have a better something in black and white on that. That's
Yeah. Well, and we can talk about it. It's not, obviously it's nothing I wrote up. It's not
Right,
I mean,
right.
I just enforce what we have, and that's
Right.
currently what we have. So
okay. Thanks.
Aaron processed 2,767 compensation tax payments last year, which that was the calendar year. That's how many payments. We did, as part of the budget year, we were approved for money in our budget to do new computer software. And as we further looked at it, we were not going to be able to find something that was going to work for us, that was going to be within our budget amount. So we did do some upgrades to what we currently have, and we're in the process of those right now, but we're getting really, really close to rolling out to letting people do things online. They'll be able to renew their business license. They'll be able to make payments. They'll be able to do that kind of stuff online. So we're getting really close to rolling that out. So we're really, really excited about that. Let me see if I had anything else here. I know that we have a first reading coming up on the code enforcement officer ordinance. And I just want to say on this has been a long time coming. Next month at this time, I will have been here 8 years. Thank you, Joe, for taking a chance and hiring me on to do this. Other than Heather, I'm the second with seniority here in City Hall. I've been here the second longest. Heather just has more time than I do. And since that time, the current ordinance that we have on the book is really, really antiquated. It's really outdated. It really has the code enforcement officer doing things that we don't do. And I think when that ordinance was first put into place, there was a goal for what they were going to have it look like. And it's changed for code enforcement, and I have changed it a lot too in the past 8 years. So this ordinance that you have in front of you, Beach and I have worked on it, Laura and I have worked on it, and this is just kind of the meat part of it. There's a whole list of like 2 or 3 pages of all my responsibilities, and those are kept in the handbook where we have our job descriptions. So this isn't everything I do, but this is just the big majority of it. So we're just trying to get our ordinance current, because the ordinance we have now is really, really old. So, and I just wanted to say, you had asked Kenny, you had asked him, Steve, about his hours. When I first started working here 8 years ago, my office hours were different than they are now. And when we made some changes a year and a half ago and I went to salary, the mayor made some changes to my hours and he has moved them. So I know that people are capable of changing hours based on how they were hired. When I was originally hired, I was hired from 9 to 5:30. And that was originally because I had young kids that I was still trying to get on the school bus. I'm flexible. I can come in and work any hours you want. Yes, I've been at Kenny's house at 11 o'clock at night in his neighborhood taking pictures of illegally parked cars. I've been here at 4 o'clock in the morning doing light patrol to see what street lights are burned out. I'm very, very flexible with my job. The only thing I've ever asked for is just that everybody here is treated equally and that the expectation for all of us is equal. And in my opinion, that would be that all of us are expected to at least be here in this office working at least 8 hours a day. And that's all I've ever asked.
What are your current hours?
My current hours are 8:30 to 5. Those are my official hours.
I got a question. I know you said that you wrote 26 citations for construction sites this year.
Yes.
What is the cost for a construction site violation?
So it depends. Some of those were encroachment permits and those were $100. Some of the other ones were illicit discharge and they were $500. So I would have to look to give you an amount. Last year was not a normal year for what I normally write on citations, but I think it seemed like Cindy and I looked it up and it seemed like it was $32,000 last year in citations. And that is not a normal thing.
Sure. You wrote 80 citations for property maintenance.
We didn't write citations.
Oh, okay.
Those are just notice of violations.
Okay.
Those are cases,
Gotcha.
cases that I opened.
And then did you say that you wrote some for grass?
We wrote 87 notices of violation for grass. And I
What
think,
are those?
so those are, if your grass gets over 12 inches,
No, I'm talking about the cost.
the cost, no, those were just notice of violations.
Okay.
So if I do write a citation, it's a $100 citation
For grass.
for grass.
How many parking citations did you write in the year last year?
Last year, I don't have it marked on here, but I think it was, I'm going to guess 4 or 5. It wasn't very many.
And what are those costs?
Those are $100. Well, depending on what it's for. If it's like a disabled tag, it's one thing. But I think for the majority, they're $100.
Gotcha. So you would say out of all of the citations that you issue, the parking's probably the least.
Yes, I would say.
That's all I was wondering.
Parking in tall grass, even though they're the highest, they're the highest notice of violation, they are probably the least on the citations.
The current parking ordinance has a 3-tiered system of fine. So the first is $50, then there's $100, then there's $500, which is absolutely ridiculous. That's part of the problem with the parking ordinance.
Okay.
What would you have to do to get a $500 parking?
Have 3 parking tickets.
Have 3 parking tickets.
You would think you'd learn after the first 2.
Well, some people are a little more hard-headed than others.
Have you ever wrote a $500
I have never
ticket?
written a $500 one, no. I have written the second tier one, and I have towed a vehicle. Probably I've towed 2 vehicles.
How
for
do you get a
illegal
tow?
parking.
Why did you tow it? For the violation?
So
Not-
for violation,
Okay.
yeah, and they didn't want to move it. They didn't want to. They didn't want to pay their citation. They didn't want to move it. They didn't.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah, just move it. Yeah, I know.
You said this several times in the past, but it's not, your goal is not to just write citations. Your goal is code enforcement.
Is code compliance. That is my goal. Is
Right.
compliance. So if I write you a notice of violation because your grass is too tall, and you call me up and you say, "Oh my gosh, I know it's my dad's house. He just had a heart attack." I'm going to give you some slack. We're going
Right.
to work this out. I also have resources available, churches. I have people that I can pick up the phone and call and say, "Hey, can you help me out?" And they will help me out, or I can give you more time. So that's ultimately, I just want compliance. So I will work with you as much as it takes. Now, if you're just completely ignoring me and sticking your thumb up at me, then I get to the point where I don't have a choice. I have to, and that's why Beach says I'm too nice. But I get to a point where I don't have a choice. I have to write a citation.
And those codes are either written or adopted by us as the legislative
Yes,
body.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But she can enforce county ordinances or state law too.
True.
Yes.
Stephanie, on that grass, I had a question on that. In the event somebody gets a citation for grass, is there some kind of length of the grass that you're looking at?
So the ordinance states over 12 inches.
So do you actually get out there with the ruler?
I have, yes, I
Have
get
you
out there
really?
with a ruler. I get out there with a ruler, but I don't, if it's like on the border, I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm
What's
talking-
on the border?
Well, if I'm driving by and it looks like it's too tall, I'm
When the
not.
grass is sprouting.
Yeah, I mean, if it's taller than your knees,
But at like 12 and a half inches, are you going to side them?
no, probably not.
What, 13?
Well, I mean, it depends.
On what?
Do what?
On what?
Well, it depends. Is this a habitual problem or is this the first time you've done this? And
Does-
again, I'm not going to cite them. I'm going to give you a notice of violation first. I'm going to educate you on what our ordinance is because a lot of people don't realize that we have this ordinance. I'm going to educate you on the ordinance first.
All right.
And hopefully that opens up some sort of dialogue with us.
That we can help them.
And we can help them if we need to help them. I know there's somebody in your neighborhood that is a habitual offender that I no longer even send them a notice of violation. I just write them a citation.
Do you measure their grass though? I mean, before you cite them?
Yeah, I measure it and I take
Okay.
pictures.
I just
Yeah.
wondered. I don't know who that is, but
Yeah.
If your grass is a foot tall, you need to cut your grass. That's just called being neighborly.
Well, and but you know, some of it is if it rains all weekend long and you're only off on the weekend, if I can't get out and mow my grass, I can't expect you to mow your grass.
Well, if your grass is a foot tall,
But if your grass is up to my waist, I know that it's been more than a week that you've skipped mowing your grass.
that's neglect for more than
Correct.
a week or two.
Yes, yes.
That's,
Yes, and those are the people that I target more.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay, is that it, Stephanie?
That's it. Does anybody else have
Okay.
any other questions?
You might want to stay up there just for a moment so you might give us a summation of this ordinance that we're going to have a first reading on here.
Okay.
It's item 13, introduction of ordinance number 1, series 2026 for first reading. Ordinance amending the duties and responsibilities of the office of the code enforcement officer. I think it was you that probably started the discussion on this because of what you've already said in terms of the job description, that there's things still in the ordinance that you don't even do anymore or don't have a lot to say so about it. So you want to give us a overview of where it was and where it is now?
Yes, so there are actually two ordinances. The first one is 31.43 Code Enforcement Officer. And this one has one of the job duties directing school traffic at LaGrange Elementary. It has making accident reports, enforcing moving violations, which are obviously things I don't do. And then the second part of that is ordinance 31.44, which is a code compliance mediator. The first ordinance was put in place in 1998. Code compliance mediator was added in 2007. And it's similar to the code enforcement officer, but it's kind of a redundant, it's just redundant. It has the same things: enforcing city business licenses, nuisances, littering, building, and other code violations, which is what I do, but it keeps out a lot of the other stuff that the first ordinance puts into place. So what we did is we took these two ordinances and kind of repealed them and amended them so that it's just one ordinance for a code enforcement officer. And again, it has all the stuff that's listed here on this ordinance. And then as part of the job description, we did change the job description in July when code enforcement became its own official department and we were no longer placed under the police department. In our job description, it does state that we do report to the mayor. So I no longer report to the chief of police. I do report directly to the mayor now. And that went into effect in July when we became our own department, official department. So this is just a very positive thing. It just cleans up the language, cleans up the job duties, and just makes it the more professional.
So we need a motion to approve?
No.
Well, this is first reading.
Oh.
Stephanie, I have a quick question. On
Wait
the,
just a second, Beach. Go ahead, Jason.
he can go ahead if he wants to. Do you want to go ahead, Beach?
There you go, Beach. You're on.
You can go ahead. I'll go after you.
Oh, the difference between this and a job description is that this is not a job description. There's a job description in the HR manual or whatever job company or job book that the HR director has. This is a high level description of what the code officer's legal duties are. Job description is what she does. But this is not an attempt to describe everything she does. If you want to do that, you can go look at the 5-page job description of everything she does. This is just we have no idea why there was a mediation, a code enforcement mediator was ever created. And I've never ever seen anybody that has an officer of the city named code enforcement mediator. So that was just deleted, okay? And because the job code enforcement officer preceded the code enforcement mediator. So it was, we don't understand why it was there. It was surplus, and so it was just repealed. And she wrote down the best that she could, without understanding the difference at first, with the difference between a job description and a duties and responsibilities, of legal duties and responsibilities. This is a statutory position. And and we have a code enforcement board. So she's kind of like a prosecutor also. She's a prosecutor. She presents the cases, make sure that she's got the evidence. The code enforcement officer is required to observe every violation. She can't come by and say, well, that tree was leaning on your house 2 months ago in the house, and it's still leaning here today, 2 months ago, and it's still leaning against your house. She can't fine them for $500 a day for those 2 months unless she comes by every day and observes it and makes a notation and takes evidence. So the code enforcement board is a quasi-judicial body that she kind of oversees. What I mean by quasi-judicial is that they aren't really officers of the law. They're not judges. They're just volunteers that serve on the code board and use common sense. So we've got a 3-person code board. And a lot of people think that she picks on people, but it's complaint driven. She can't go around the city and find everything that's wrong. She has to, the first thing is what people complain about. And she'll go out and investigate that and write it up. Always gives people a chance to do it right, do the right thing. She'll give them a notice and says, hey, in case you didn't know, this is a violation. We actually have a law that says you can't have pigs in the backyard. Okay, and your neighbors are complaining about the pigs. And so she'll go and say, hey, you can't have a pig in your backyard. And they'll say, well, it's a support pig. But it's like, well, I'm sorry, there's health reasons for that. And so they can give them another chance, and if they just disregard them, then she'll write them a violation, and they got to come before the code board. That's the way it works.
Okay. Jason.
Yeah, I was just wondering if all of the items that are in this ordinance are also included in the handbook. Does the handbook cover this that's in here, and then more information in addition to this? Is that what you were saying, Beach?
It does. It spells it out, and it spells
I've
it
never
out.
seen the handbook.
Yeah,
See what's in her job.
So
and
I guess
spells things out.
is there
in more
something
detail.
is there something in this ordinance that's not in the handbook?
No.
Is there a reason that this ordinance wouldn't just say that the code will be amended and the duties and responsibilities of the code enforcement officer are those that are now reflected in the handbook?
No, because you're delegating your duties as a legislative officer.
Mm-hmm.
You're delegating your responsibility to pass laws to an HR director.
Okay. Is
And
there,
there's no checks and balances for that.
okay. Is there a reason that we wouldn't have what the entirety of what's in the handbook actually in this ordinance so they match equally?
Of course, I just told you, it's because that you're delegating responsibilities to the handbook, which can be amended by a person with a pen.
Okay.
And we have the same, I mean, we have an ordinance for the HR director, we have an ordinance for the finance director, and it's the same with those two. It's got the meat here, but then they have a separate job description.
Okay. And then on section 1 where it says the initial section was amended and replaced in its entirety, can we get a copy of that sent to us? What exactly?
It's in the code book right now.
Yeah.
It's online, it's in the book that we gave you.
Okay.
It's the code 31.43B, which now
31.43B that matches.
code is effective. So
Okay. And that's online currently?
Here, I'll send you the link.
All right. And can you do the same for 31.44 about the
Yes.
code and compliance mediator? Thank you.
It'll be one link, but they're both on that same page.
That way the council at least can look and see what's been stricken out, because most of the time I think we've been told that to do an ordinance properly, if anything that's repealed and replaced would be stricken out. So since it's not stricken out on here, it might be good for the council members to actually see that.
Well, I don't know where you were told that, but if the
You
words
did.
right here just
You
said
told me that.
amended, because we started to do it that way, and there were so many changes, it looks stupid. Okay.
Well,
Because
it's either right or it's
totally-
not right. We have to do the right
different.
thing, which is right.
Okay, it's totally.
You can't change it back and forth every month.
Well, that's the nature of it being specific, okay? It was so different. I guess I could have said is repealed and then adopted again, that we're gonna give the new number. Okay, no, so we just amended it in its entirety. That's how you say this when you're a practicing lawyer. You say, this is how you do it, Jason. So if you ever.
I understand how to do it,
City
Beach.
attorney, you need to learn how to.
I understand how to do it, Beach. I've looked at numerous things that you've provided to us where you've stricken out the language. And all of a sudden you're not doing that. So I'm just trying to figure out
I
why.
think,
I'll do that for small changes.
Okay.
This was so radically different
Okay.
from what she had before in 1988. That's what this is.
Okay, that's a good explanation. And I just wanted to make sure the council has access to what you're actually striking. I think it's important that they know what they're voting on.
Stephanie, would you send that to every council member,
Yeah, I was saying, I
including
just
my-
sent it,
including
I sent it
myself?
to Jason, but I can send it to
Send it to
everybody.
everyone so everyone has the same identical information,
Thank
please.
I will do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else, Stephanie,
I
tonight?
don't have anything else.
Well, we're in this first reading, so everyone's aware of this first reading. We have a public hearing on it in February.
Oh, I do have one more thing. I'm sorry. Thank you.
So we'll put this
So,
down as a first reading,
um,
Cindy, please, and we'll have a public hearing.
And this was introduced by Lucy as from the personnel department.
So I am going to be leaving on Monday for medical leave for a month. I'm having surgery. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great, but I'm not going to be in the office for at least 4 weeks. Aaron will be covering everything in my absence. So if you need something or have a question, please reach out to him. So I will not be here for the second reading unless I'm feeling up to it. I guess I could come in for it, but if you have any questions, please, feel free to reach out to Aaron. He can answer all the questions also.
Good luck, Stephanie. I hope everything goes well.
Thank you. I do too.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Let's see, next item is a reappointment, number 14, a reappointment of Joe Davenport to the LaGrange Utility Commission for a one-year term to end up the end of this year, be 12/31 of 2026, not 2027. So Joe's been on the commission for 1 year. Joe is very committed member to be at every meeting. He wants to be aware of what's going on, and I just felt that he's done a good job there, and I'd like to make the reappointment of Joe Davenport based on this term to serve. Anyone willing to make a motion? Motion made by Jason Kinsler, second by Kenneth Powell. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank each of you for your confidence in Joe. Yes, sir. 15, reappointment of Julie Eds Heckman to the Historic District Commission for a 2-year term from 1/1/2026 to 01 of 1/1/28. I think most of y'all know Julie Eds Heckman. That's Barbara Manley Calloway's daughter. She's been on the commission for a number of years. So she has agreed to re-up. So anyone willing to make the motion to approve her?
Mayor, a question on that, because I know Julie, she's a good person, but I just want to make sure that and maybe Beach, this is maybe for you. Legally, are we okay because her mom is a paid member of that thing, and she's on that board that I guess would oversee that paid member? Are we legally within step there? I know it's tough to get people on there that know what they're doing, but I want to make sure we're legally correct here.
Well, I guess you're talking about some sort of nepotism, but no, we're not. I mean, it's fully disclosed. I mean, it's only wrong if it's not disclosed.
Her mother is a staff member, staff to the board. The board itself has all the ability to make all decisions without regard to her mother. So, I don't see any
But
conflict.
if I had
don't
a son and he wanted to work for the city, and I'm on the city council, he couldn't work for the city. I know for sure that one's against ethics.
Well,
and rules
that's
and regs.
because
So why I'm
that's probably
questioning.
because both of you will be being paid, whereas the Historic District Commission is a non-paid position. It's volunteer only. Okay, we have an appointment here. If anybody wants
I'll
to
make
make
a
the motion
motion.
to do it, excuse me?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion made by
I'll second
Latasha,
it.
second by Lucy. Any further discussion on the motion before the council? I mean, they're all thankless positions.
I've been to those
But anyway.
meetings.
Right, and that's not it. I know Julie's good. I know she
We have
knows
a
her stuff.
motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Okay, item 16, Gene Alert to the Historic District Commission for a 2-year term from 1/1/26 to 1/1/28. Same thing. It's hard to find these board members, but Jean said she would re-up for 2 years if she can make it that long. Motion made by Kenneth Powell, second by Latasha Bishop Booker. All, we have a motion second. All those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you all. Committee reports. Trey Kamer goes first tonight.
Yes,
Welcome,
sir.
Trey.
Thanks. I'll try to keep it brief. We met on December 10th. We went over the park director report.
Sir, you want to say anything else before you leave? Okay. All right. Well, you can report on that when you come back too. Okay. Go ahead, Trey.
All right. Just a lot of things that Steve had covered in his report about snow removal, marketing. Light of LaGrange went well. We talked about the success of the pancake breakfast that morning here, and they shared with us how much they raised, and it was wonderful. We talked about some open gym activities, both activities that are currently happening, and then maybe some other ideas that we could try. Oddly enough, one of those was bunco, and I guess that's a county. The county has bunco, so not going off of their idea, but that was something we had discussed as well. So we did talk about Wilburn Lake. Corey gave some insights on the past history of Wilburn Lake. We discussed the pond lady treatment, just the estimated cost on that, the success of having the pond ladies experience, and then possibly Dual, one of our parks staff, has been certified in a similar type application. So maybe having him at a later date take over some of those responsibilities was something that we talked about. We also talked about the dam safety, both at Eagle Creek Upper Dam and then at Wilburn Lake, just how they are both deemed high-class hazard dams due to the surrounding properties. I didn't write this in the notes, but part of that discussion was there was a house built in a very close proximity to, I believe it was the Wilburn Lake pond. So now it's a high-class hazard dam just because there's a residence that's adjacent. So we talked about things in work that could be done and or are being done to improve those dams for the public safety. We talked about the golf course simulator. And I'm going to leave it at that. So our next meeting will be January 14th. That's next Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And if committee members, if you want to add anything to that, I think
you got it all, man.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Trey. And then, who's next? Laura Taylor, Ordinance Committee.
In ordinance committee, we primarily just covered the ethics ordinance, which when it was originally presented, a lot of council members had issues with. We are trying to go through that. Again, any input that council members could provide would be beneficial to send that to me so that we can discuss that at the next meeting, which will be on January 20th of this month.
Okay. At what time?
5 o'clock.
Okay, Laura, thank you. Okay, our last public comment. I'm going to start calling you magician. Come on up. The Magic Man. So he said you were not recorded the first time around. So see, you can change your story now. Whatever you didn't think sold the first go around, you get a second chance to clean that up.
First, I can report the bathrooms are very clean, so I had to report that to you. I just want to introduce myself real quick. I'm going for city council. My name's Magic Mike Thompson. Not for dancing, but for I've been a magician for 30 years. So I am a veteran, new to the town as of a year ago, but that's a benefit and a detriment, obviously. Benefit is I bring new ideas and a new mind to things, and a detriment because I don't know a lot of people in the town, even though my lovely new wife has introduced me to a lot of people. So, just wanted to introduce myself real quick. So,
Have you ever counted how many countries have you been to?
I've been to 80 countries.
8?
80.
80. Okay. I was like, 80. Okay.
80 countries. I'm a veteran, and so if anybody has any questions for me or I can help answer anything for you guys, I would appreciate it. So
80 countries. That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Magic Man. All right. Anybody else in the last public comment tonight? Something you might want to speak about before we sort of get ready to go home? Okay. Open discussion related to any old business. Anyone have anything to bring up on anything old in nature? Anything? Anyone want to bring something up?
I'd like to just, because we're moving into that season, and I know we talked about it, I guess it's been a year ago. Where do we stand with the sign ordinance? Just because
It's on the agenda. We've got a working document. We've started to go through it. There's certain issues that are controversial for certain people, so we're just needing to work through some of those types of things, like the exact sizes of signs, numbers of signs, time periods signs can be out, that kind of thing.
What,
We have a document that we're working on that sort of changes the approach to it. So instead of going by zone, it's more about the type of property that has signs on it. So like a commercial property or a residential property. It's not as much about this is zone R, whatever, C, whatever. It's not as much about that.
what has been actually debated, discussed, and approved or disapproved from 2 years ago when we had the size of signs in our city? Is that not been resolved? So, I mean, what's the requirement of size you can put or place, and or you have to get a permit to do it now?
We haven't come to a final decision on that. In the last meeting, we did discuss that grace period for signs. So like a period of time up until and including the primary, a period of time up until and including the fall election, when there wouldn't be any restriction on number of signs. And then we're still in the process of discussing.
What about the size of sign?
That's still up for debate.
So there's no required fee to put up a different size of sign in the city?
That's not been ironed out at this point.
Okay,
is what I'm
so,
saying.
so
That's something that we need to work.
I
we
know,
need to
but,
discuss further.
but that takes a ordinance amendment change and then a second reading. So that's going to be a while down the road.
Currently, it's fairly restrictive on size. I think it's 2 by 4 is the largest.
3 by 4, I believe.
3 by 4?
3 by 4.
Yeah, I think when we do this, I think we need to take in consideration everybody running for a political office. It's not a sign that's going to be up year round. It's going to be up every 2 or 4 years. And a lot of people, listen, this got started because of me. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Way to go, Kenneth.
All right, it is what it is. But when I think that if somebody volunteers like Mike, and Mike wants to promote himself to serve the community like all of us has, and you go to purchase these signs, you're making an investment in yourself for your community. So it doesn't pay you anymore to make that sign 3 by 4. You're paying more for less. So what I did was I took a 4 by 8 and cut it in half like everybody else does. And the person that I was buying it for recommend doing. I think we need to take into consideration and just use common sense and what's best going to work for the people that are volunteering their services. This isn't rocket science. This is a sign that you're putting your name on. So for us to drag this out for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months from now, it's not that hard. It's pretty easy. It's a political sign. I'm going to put my name on it. No profanity. This is what I'm doing. There you go. I'm going to put it up from this time, take it down at this time. Voila. Look, I just wrote an ordinance in like 30 seconds. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
let's use some common sense with this.
But what you're saying, Kenny, Stephanie Winther has a different opinion on that from a sign.
And I agree with Stephanie and I. We went back and forth, and I don't disagree with Stephanie. Stephanie has a job to do, just like the chief does, just like everybody in this room does. But when whoever's running for a political office, whether it's city council, a magistrate, judge, mayor, jailer, sheriff, these aren't things that are going to be up year round. These aren't things that are going to be up all the time. And if we set that precedent, okay, this is when the election is. This is when you can put your sign up. Stephanie knows that this is coming, and then she knows when it's coming down. It's not that hard for her. But I do understand that if somebody wants to just put signs rampant everywhere, all year long, that's different. But I mean, I will stand on that hill for anybody that volunteers their time and service to represent their community, that if you're going to put in the time and the money to represent yourself to serve the community, listen, the $600 that you make doing this a month, you're going to be out $6,000 just trying to sit there, and the return on investment is not there. but you do it because you want better and you want to help. So I think that when we write this ordinance, let's use some common sense. Let's put in some grace for the people that are volunteering their time, whether it's a city position, a county position, a state position. We got congressmen, we got Senate people that live in this county that are going to want to promote themselves to serve the state of Kentucky too. If they want to put a 4x8 sign at Gustavo's lot there by Tractor Supply, I don't think that they should have to pay $50 for 30 days.
But the sign ordinance is much more than just about politics.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
I don't know if that's even part of this sign ordinance.
Sure.
We're just looking at the fact that we don't have a sign ordinance. We just copied the counties.
Right.
And Stephanie, she's going, okay, is this an R1, an R2, 2A, or a 3, you know? And we just looked at prospects, and they say, if it's a business, it's this. If it's a residence, it's that. Okay, and we just thought, you know, this is just a little town. We don't need to say, oh, you're in an R2A. So we were just going to try to simplify it.
I agree 100%.
And we weren't out to change whether you can have a 3x4 or 3x5 or whatever and get out the microscope.
But I think that's what we got into last time.
Yeah, and that's not one of our missions.
Sure.
You know?
But I think what he's saying is we don't want to get in the same situation that we were in 2 years or a year ago.
Yeah.
When somebody wanted to put a 4x4 sign up.
Was that you?
That was me. So that's what I'm saying.
I think
Born troublemaker.
I think we're in that situation now. So within the county, there are already people running for office that have signs. I know you travel a lot. In other counties, there's already signs for all kinds of offices already. So we're in that situation now. And do we want to allow them now or not? And, you know, and I'm not trying to beat up on the ordinance committee, but, you know, we have to have a pretty sense of urgency on this, because
Well, we do allow the small ones. It's just when the bigger ones come into
that's
play. and
debatable as well.
multiples.
You're allowed one sign, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one in a yard, which I don't think. Yes, which
So if I want to put 3 political signs in my yard, I can't do that.
correct.
That's what I'm 100%, because everybody's going to have friends or whoever that are going to be running for a position that you might want to represent many different seats.
Correct.
Why not? But you can't do that right now. And I think that what Trey's saying is kind of like what I'm saying is, let's use some common sense here and let's just put something in place for Stephanie to work with, for us to work with, or whoever wants to work with. Mike, I'm sure, is going to go buy signs. He should. And when he does that, he wants to get the best bang for his buck. And I don't blame him.
Well, we need to have ordinance that can be enforced.
Absolutely.
Okay? And if we're going to let Dairy Queen have every person that's running for anything go up in their front yard, do we have to let everybody do that?
No, but I don't think that it should take months to figure that out. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. I'm glad everybody's clear on that.
So what size can we put up, John?
I don't know. I mean, I heard you mention 4x8 out here at Tractor Supply. I don't think 4x8's allowed, period.
No, but you know, I can tell you right now that there's sheriffs, there's jailers, there's magistrates that have 4x8 signs sitting in a barn they spent a lot of money on, that they're going to want to promote in the city because they represent this city and they protect this city. So they shouldn't be, you know, they shouldn't be, you know, charged for that nor punished for that, for doing a job and volunteering their services to support the county or the city. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
You've got a lot of signs, I'm sure.
They're not volunteering their services. They're getting paid something.
Absolutely. But
You know.
when you do that, you're right. But there's no other job that, I mean, I didn't put signs up when I started selling equipment to hire me. You only do that for a political office that you're voted on. And yes, they are paid positions, and you're still paying to promote yourself. That's all I'm saying, is that I think that it is coming, like Trey said.
It's here now.
And exactly, drive through, I drive through a lot of counties and cities, and there's already signs everywhere.
Mayor's got some signs for sale cheap,
I
going
guarantee it.
cheap right now.
We still got his signs from the last election.
He's got them from 47 elections ago. What are you talking about?
John Black for mayor signs are going cheap right now. 50% off sale.
With a can of spray paint.
Okay, I'm not even sure where we are on it. Let's keep moving. All right, open discussion related to any new business. Anybody want to bring up anything new that you'd like to introduce to the council tonight?
I just,
On
yeah.
your, this coming year of activity, what would you like to suggest? Any new business you'd like to be officially discussed? Anybody have anything?
I had an announcement that,
Yes, sir.
North Oldham Little League, their signups are going on now, and that you could do those online currently, but there is some in-person events. So it'll be on January 17th. This is a little bit choppy. 17th, 18th, 24th, 25th, 31st, or February 1st. The Saturday times are 10 to 2. The Sunday times are 1 to 4. Those in-person events are at the concession stand at North Oldham Little League. So I wanted to publicly say that that's going on now.
Okay. Thank you, Trey. I know Little League's big here in LaGrange, Oldham County. Anyone else have anything for new business?
Mayor, I know we mentioned the arch, but I think the Economic and Community Development Committee is going to kind of help push the ball forward on that, unless you have any recommendations.
Myself? No, I'm fine with it. You can start getting your plans together, your ideas together, and I know Tourism Commission will be there to help any way they can with it. Hopefully. I think if it's done in the right taste for our historic town, as you come into our town, I think it would be something that could be tastefully done. Whether the council would ever want to appropriate the needed funds for that, but we would have to work with the state transportation cabinet to make sure all of our engineering is done correctly where it spans the highway at some location. But if Jason, if you don't hear any pushback from any council person at this point, I would just suggest keep moving forward within your committee on this idea.
Okay, that sounds good.
Anything else? Anyone have any announcements tonight?
Hey, Steve, I got a report that we are not broadcasting, and I just pulled up on the city page, and it says waiting for City of LaGrange.
It could have been one of the 3 streams that I've had to start, so it's live. It's just I've had to.
Okay.
We just traded computers, and this was not as strong.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just went to the city's website to try to pull it up, and I can't pull it up, so I don't know what that means. But.
Okay. Motion to adjourn by anyone.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Latasha, second by Jason Kinzer. All those in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.